alien companions. This is the Happy Aliens podcast to go live and Thursday evening, but your boy had some mental and physical issues, emotions. Super chat alert. I don't know how it works, but hey, every time you guys super chat or donate or memberships, I think it'll come on screen. And we'll talk about it, and it'll respect you guys while we're doing the video stream, so you guys can see your words on the big screen. That being said, this is the Happy Alien Podcast, where each and every week I, your alien number one, go online, apparently whenever I feel like it, to talk about things that interest me, without judgment or bullshit or anything else from today's world. I know a lot of my fans are movie-oriented, Hollywood-oriented, retro, nostalgia-oriented, DVD, TV film, movie collecting-oriented, but we have those things in common. We also have a weird world that nobody understands nowadays. We don't know fake from reality. We don't know what's real. And we all expect an alien invasion coming up very, very soon. So, that's where this podcast comes into fruition. And I see we got a super chat from Corn Diff. There might be a delay for it to come on screen. I've never used out this super chat alert technology. So if it doesn't work, please forgive me. Let's see what happens. Maybe I have to press a button. It says connected. Thank you, Corn Diff, for the testing 1, 2, 3. Maybe if I put a heart on it, will it work? Will it come up? If I hit a like on it, will that make it work? I don't know. Why is it not coming up? There it is. There it is. With a weird noise. $1.99 for Corn Diff. He's got an awesome channel. He's an awesome dude supporting me. And just check him out, Corn Diff. But yeah. So it looks like the technology works with a weird noise. Da-da-da-da. It sounded like a retro Zelda video game. So that's what's going on. Well, it looks like it works. So thank goodness. But so how did this podcast come about? I needed to talk about things that interest my brain, my mind, and other things. And I want to interview people, not only entertainers from Hollywood, which there are going to be a few more coming. There's been a little bit of trouble on that end, and I'll speak about that maybe in today's show or at another time. But I've been getting a lot of judgment from people that I respect just about talking about unique things, conspiracies, or whatever it is, or getting emotional. And it put me on a downtrodden, okay? It put me on a really, really dark couple days because I got some advice and it really, really freaked me out. And it hurt me. And then on top of that, I had a weird Superbowl weekend. It was my birthday weekend and I went a little wild with food and drink, and I shouldn't have. My body can handle it. So that being said, we got another donation from Brent. Let's see if it'll pop up without me pressing any buttons to respect you guys. I don't want to press any buttons and see if it still pops up in like 30, 40 seconds. But, yeah, so long story short, man, I want to have guests that are unique and different to this world, whether you call them crazy or not. I just want to learn about people's careers, their hobbies, their enjoyment. There it is. Brent Mania with a $2 donation for the podcast. Brent, have we talked? Have you picked the merchandise in our store? I gotta talk to you on Instagram. Forgive me, man. Where was I? Yeah, so I want to talk to unique guests and not only Hollywood people or whatever. I just want to learn about people because I don't get every opportunity to meet and talk to people every day of my life. So at least this way I can do it. And we can learn some stuff about, like on today's show, we got like a paranormal expert, tarot card, horror. She called herself a witch. Like, even though it scares me sometimes, it boggles my mind. But that's why I'm doing this podcast, is to alleviate my brain, meet some unique people, while also having some fun and creating content that I technically enjoy or try to work for. All right, soliloquies aside, let's get started with today's show. We got a good show for you guys today. We're going to talk about Super Bowl halftime Decoded from my perspective. We're going to talk about the Acorn cop, because that was the big viral moment. We're also going to talk about the Taylor Swift Psyop and numerology in today's show, symbolism in today's show, and we're going to talk some pop culture stuff. I watched some really good movies and TV shows that I could not believe was really, really good. And we're also going to have the 20 or 30 minute version, edited version of Moongirl as our guest, and members only can get the full version in the members only description channel. And we're going to be having a good time. So if you guys have any questions, anything you would like to answer, I might not be able to read every single one during the show. So if you're able to, super chat will pop it up in front of me, and it helps make me happy to do the show, because Lord knows with YouTube, every video almost gets flagged and you can't really earn any money, so you have to live off your support. All right, let's get the housekeeping out of the way, guys. And I'm going to try to go with this quicker than I normally do. Please hit that thumbs up, that subscribe button. See if I can get all these video graphics going with the technology. Takes a minute, guys. Takes a minute. There we go. Please hit that subscribe. Hit that like button. Hit the bell for notifications when I go live, because apparently my schedule ain't working. And also, guys, check out Freelance Flavor. They got some awesome rubs and spices, man. They're pretty much a good friend of the show. And check them out. They got a website, a YouTube channel. It's called Flavor Frontier. But freelanceflavor.com, my boy Lance, he's got rubs and spices, and he's a Texas barbecue maker. He's won a lot of your sauces, your rubs, your barbecue needs. Man, get your barbecue, get your grilling on any time of the season. All right, let's represent my members of the channel. For the month of February, I need to represent you guys. I hope that thing that says Alien Arrivals ain't going to be there the whole show. I don't know. But I want to represent the members of this channel that spend their hard-earned money to support me and dedicate their hard work or cash to help me out. I appreciate you guys. There it is. Got everybody on screen. I can't read it correctly. We got Courtney, Jesse Ward, Flat Cat Jessica. Sorry, guys, my eyes are pretty bad today. Phil McGroin, that's a good name. GG Crush, Martin, Chip Galloway, Brent, our boy Brent, always representing. So many representatives. Waver, Corn Diff, Corey Fernandez, everybody, man. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much, man, for the support. Like I said, hopefully I earn your subscriptions and your likes during these videos, man. I truly, truly appreciate y'all. Sometimes this is all I got. And we had a winner last week. And the winner of the merchandise was Make Luke Rad Again. I just sent him the link the other day. Brent Mania, I still owe you the link. But I sent him a link the other day for his merchandise one. And how it works is I write a number, guys, for super chats and donations. And I have a merchandise store, okay? And I write a number down, and if we reach that amount, whatever person hits that exact amount wins an item from my merchandise store. So, the numbers could be different every week, and I'm going to write it down live in front of you guys, but this is a way for me to earn income, hopefully earning it from you guys, and supporting the channel. Even though technically, the giveaways cost me more than I earn on the videos. Sometimes. You need to get more than like 30 every time to give away something, because it costs like $15 for me to give the merchandise away. It's a weird math thing, but I write a number down, and if we reach that number, whoever donated or became a member at that exact number wins a link to one item in my merchandise store value of $25. It cost me about $15 to send it, maybe $13, $14. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, they win an item from my merchandise store. Everything is down below, guys. So let me write down the number for today's show. And then also, if you don't have the super chat and you still want to enter the contest, in the description of this video, once it's live, write "I want to win," and then your name and avatar will be put in a hat, and we are going to pick. We have a winner for today's show from the people that didn't super chat, but we're also going to have a winner with the number. So I wrote down the number, and if we reach that in super chat, you win an item from my merch store. But we're also going to pick a winner that was not able to super chat in the previous 4 shows. So they're going to have a winner by the end of today's show, so stick around for that announcement. So let's get to it. And I wrote down the number, and that's what's going on. Also, Collector's Conquest, who won a couple of weeks back in our first show, he said he made a video on his YouTube channel showing off the merchandise that he got from me. He hasn't sent me the link. I looked at his YouTube channel. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't support that right now until I get the link to the video. But he said it's online, and maybe it's on TikTok or something. I don't know. But Collector's Conquest, Brett Mania, Make Luke Radigan, congratulations on being the first 3 winners. And appreciate you guys. I got to make this a little bit quicker because I don't want to keep talking your heads off of, you know, merchandise sales and everything. But headshots autographed by me, T-shirts, logos, designs from some of the things in my career. We got Happy Aliens mugs. We got the podcast tee if you want to represent this podcast that will be continuing. We got the Camp Onawana bucket hat where you can look like a rap artist, put some change. We got the mug. I can't even afford to get my own mugs from my own merchandise store because, you know, they cost like $10, $15 or 50% of what they sell for, and then I still got to pay shipping. I haven't even bought my own items. That's how tough it is sometimes. It's hard out here for a pimp. I'm trying to get the money for the rent. With the Cadillac and gas money spent, we got a whole lot of people talking shit. All right, guys. Also, I got cameos where I'll roast you if you want me to. I'll shout you out, give your girlfriend a Valentine, sing a song, tell you some stories, and all that for Cameo. It's a good price. Every Cameo comes with an autographed picture in the mail. And there we go. We got that out of the way, guys. I don't need to talk about my best sellers. I don't need to do that. So let's just move on. Let's get started with the show officially. All right, so let me represent who we got online so far real quickly. We got Nick Topian, we got Corn Diff, Brent Mania, El Jafone. We Don't Have Cookies. Moongirl was a great interview. Fat TDs. Hi, Mikey. I appreciate you guys. And we have subscriber-only mode today where you have to be a subscriber for 30 minutes or longer before you can talk to me because I had to separate some evil people that are just trolling, and I'm getting tired of it. Brent is the moderator, so Brent's going to be handling his business. Appreciate you all. All right, let's get on with today's show. How do I get rid of the dang screen? Why is it still popped up there? Okay. All right, so, like I said, on today's show, we got a 25, 30-minute version of Moongirl, Mistress of the Paranormal. It was a great interview. We'll talk about that more as the show progresses, but expect her edited interview in about, 45 minutes. So if you're only waiting for her, come back in about 45 minutes. But also, if you want to watch the full version, it is available now for members only. I appreciate you all. And we got Adam online, Steven's online, Nordic VIP, Jet Baby Tooth, There it is. All right, guys, let's talk about this viral video that went live the other day. And I wish I would have watched it live with you guys online, but let's watch this news report and let's just talk about how I actually think this might be a hoax in some sense of the word. Even though it's so dang stupid, I just feel like it might be manipulated or faked. But you know what? It's probably so dang stupid that it's not faked. But I'm going to talk about the things that I see from this video and this story that maybe many other people. Hey, we got Krautcat online with the donation. Happy Saturday, Mikey Raider. Oh, thank you so much, my good dude. Yes, I might do a Raider video later today, depending on how I'm feeling. But I wanted to do today's video early today instead of later in the afternoon because I'm going through some things. It's just one of those days that I go through when I'm empty inside. Hey, what's up, Fox Mulder? I forgot to introduce Fox Mulder, my co-host. That's right, the truth is out there. He's always looking, and you can see the light shining into him because the truth is always out there, and Fox Mulder is always looking. Thank you so much for the support, Krautcat. Appreciate you. Love your avatar. You got some cool hair. Wish I could have hair like that. All right, let's watch this story on the Acorn Cop that they are now dubbing him the Acorn Cop. And again, forgive if the technology where the super chats stay online all the time or whatever, I don't know if it's going to do that. I was hoping it would disappear after about 10-15 seconds, but who knows? Who knows? We'll just go along with the show and see what happens. It's new technology. I don't know how to use it. All right, let's watch this story on the Florida cop, y'all. Oh, God, this makes me laugh. All right, let's watch this story on the Acorn Cop. And then we'll debunk a lot of things in a second. Logging Road Keen is online. What's up, brother? Okay, see if I can get it to play.
All right. I don't know. My legs went numb for a second. I heard a pop come from... Go this way.
And this particular time we let
the incident of November 12th, 2023, while on a call with a suspect in the back seat, then Okaloosa County Deputy Jesse Hernandez reportedly claimed.
Okay, you guys all know this story, so I can talk about this as we watch it. Let's just get that video footage while it's in the background while I talk about this.
And this particular time we let the public down.
Okaloosa County Sheriff Eric Aiden in this video posted to social media speaking on the incident.
All right, so this is the video footage of Acorn Cop. If you don't know the story, I guess I'll give you the TLDR, the lowdown rundown. But this cop arrested somebody for possibly domestic violence or stealing a car from his girlfriend, but he arrived at the scene. They checked him. They checked his body. Then they put him in the back of a squad car. And apparently this is the cop after he's put the suspect or the criminal, whatever, into the back of the car. And now he's walking back towards the car to finish up on his paperwork. And mind you, in the video footage, he's already wearing gloves. And again, there's other video footage that he wasn't the one that patted down the guy, that it was another officer patting down the guy. Well, why does he have gloves on if he wasn't the one patting down the criminal to see if he had any weapons? Then if he had a weapon, they would have pulled it out right when they were patting the guy. But no, he got patted, checked down, they put him into the squad car, and now this is video footage of the cop walking toward the squad car with the criminal that's already been checked for weapons going to the car. Now, if you look to the left of the tree, and again, most people want to hear the comedic take of this, of him being an idiot, and you guys have seen many takes on that. Everybody's going to give you the comedic take. Oh, it's funny. He's such an idiot. He looks like he's in Reno 911. I'm giving you the conspiracy take on this. The things that I see that many other people don't think. I ask questions. Again, I'm not saying this is fake. It might be too stupid to be fake. But I still have questions that are not being answered. Again, from my perspective. Now, he's walking back toward the cop car with the guy in the back seat that's already been checked for weapons. And his partner is talking to a girl, getting her information on the situation. Then, if you look to the left of the tree, there's another cop car. So, did him and his partner not come in the same car? Or is there another set of officers already parked on the side? Or did each one of them have a car? But again, there's other video footage that shows there's like 3 or 4 cops total at this situation. 3 or 4 at this moment before the shooting. So, I can't show you all that footage. But now let's watch this cop walk back to the car after this guy has been proven to not have a weapon and he's wearing gloves. Why is he wearing gloves? Maybe he was the guy that patted the criminal down. I do not know. But he's got gloves on already. It's just ridiculous.
Of November 12th, 2023, while on a call with a suspect in the back seat, then...
There you go. You guys see the cop car on the left? Look at that. See, there's another cop to the left. There's 2 cop cars. Why did this cop car park right there and then another cop car decide to park in the parking lot? If you got 2 cops on the call, they would normally, one would pull up right next to each other in a line. I don't know. Just my thoughts. That cop parked perfectly. Are they at a police station? Is this a manipulated event? I don't know. Just throwing out questions, y'all. But that's a cop car to the left. I promise you it is.
Okaloosa County Deputy Jesse Hernandez reportedly claimed...
Now, apparently this is where the acorn falls from the tree. You see? He's parked specifically under the tree. Specifically under that tree. Then the other cop parks in the parking lot. These are the stuff about video footage you got to think to yourself. Could it be propaganda? Could it be manipulated? Could it be a distraction, a story? And again, this is supposedly in 2023, 11/12. Okay. Why coming out now? I don't know. Maybe all the stuff about Biden or this or that and the Super Bowl weekend. Where everybody wore black and blue, like for the cops. We'll talk about that more later. But this is the moment where the acorn drops. You can't hear anything. But this cop is wearing gloves. Then there's slowed down video footage where it looks like in my opinion, looks like a manipulated acorn falls. Okay, but this could be real, and it's hilarious as shit. But why is he wearing gloves? We talked about that. I talk too much.
This noise that he thought was...
Did you see? You see? He came up with gloves. Why is he walking back to the car when the guy's already there? And he hears the acorn fall when he's halfway through the car. Then all of a sudden, his first reaction is to roll. Roll. Let me roll. And he's got gloves on. I didn't see an acorn. I didn't hear an acorn. Why is he already halfway past the car before he decides to do the roll? Why is he walking to the back of the car? Is he going to open up the door? I don't know. Y'all tell me. But then he does the Reno 911 roll. He does the video game roll. What was that old video game where you had elevator action? The guy would roll. There was a retro video game named Elevator Action. But oh my goodness, guys. All right, Crowdcat, thank you so much. What did you say? I think it's a textbook unqualified police officer. He is too fearful, too anxious to serve his community and protect the law. You know what? That's a very valid point, and I will give you that. The way they are trained nowadays is ridiculous. And some of these people have PTSD from wars, and they want to get people with volatile anger issues that are fearful. And the way the world is manipulated, I guarantee you every sheriff, when they have their meeting in the morning before they go out, protect yourselves. There's crazy people out there. They're shooting people everywhere in the streets at Superbowl weekends. You crazy people are out there. Protect yourselves. Protect yourselves. So they build up the fear-mongering in these officers, and every single thing, they fear for their life. Oh, I got to pull this guy over. He ran a red light. Oh, he's speeding. Oh, I'm afraid. Oh, show me your license. Show me your license. There was a story the other day where this person was speeding or something, or they got pulled over, and they were asking for their license or something like that, and the cop was going crazy to break their window. They're like, hold on, let me get my license. Show me your license. Let me open up the glove compartment. I'll break your windows. Like, it's insane. All right, let's move on. Thank you so much, Crowdcat. Video comments online. What's up, brother? Yeah, they hire everybody from the military to give them jobs, and they have PTSD from there as well. It's like their recruitment classes are basically out of, remember the old, what was that TV show we used to love? Police Academy. I mean, this guy, this cop, good point on military PTSD. Thank you, Crowdcat. This guy that we're watching is straight out of Police Academy, but in a worse way, in a fearful manner. All right, but let's also debunk some of this stuff, and let's talk about it, man. Oh, this gets me livid. Come on. I'm trying to get my video cameras to work again.
October 12th, 2019 reportedly claimed it was this noise.
Shots fired!
Shots fired. Didn't even sound like a shot. Then he immediately barrels into the back of his squad car. I mean, okay. Let's just think about, I know you don't have any time to think when situations like this occur, but as a cop, you need to. Lives are on the line. Is their training just to shoot? First off, did it sound like a shot? While you were rolling and screaming shots fired, you should have took a second and said, don't cop cars have gun resistant or bullet proof windows? I may be wrong. I'm not saying they do. I don't know. But I remember cop cars many years ago in the 90s or whatever. I think almost every single one of them was being fitted with bulletproof windows. Maybe it's certain cop cars. Maybe it's certain vehicles. Maybe it's not the traditional police car. I do not know. But I'm just saying, if they do have bulletproof glass, why is this guy shooting back into his car? Ain't nothing going to happen. Then on top of that, if you took a second, he said shots fired. That was one, y'all. That was one. That was one acorn. There was one acorn that fell. So that shot fired, if he thought it was a shot. Then on top of that, he thought it was from a suppressor. This is the story we're getting. He thought it was from a suppressor. So apparently the guy or his girlfriend or whatever showed him a picture of him with a gun that had a suppressor on it before this event happened. That's the story. The girlfriend showed him, hey, this is the guy that stole my car, and he won't return it, or he's coming back, or whatever, and he threatened me with a gun. Then they showed the cops the picture of him with a gun, and it had a suppressor. I can't keep saying that word. I got to say G-U-N, or else every video will get flagged. But, so the cop went into this remembering that picture and afraid of it. Literally after they checked him for weapons. So did they not do a good enough job checking him for weapons? To where he actually thought the guy got into the car, handcuffed. I'm assuming he was handcuffed. Maybe he wasn't. I don't know. But I'm assuming he was handcuffed. after he was checked for a GUN or a weapon, magically pulled out of his handcuffs, magically pulled out a weapon with a silencer, and then shot through possible bulletproof glass that made no sound at this officer. I know you don't have the time to think about all this in the moment. That's why we're doing it now. But now, look, he barrels into the back of his squad car. Then his partner's like, what? What's going on? He's like, shots fired. Shots fired. And then she's like, where? Who? When? How? Did you not hear it? Oh, it's from a silencer. But then she just barrels in, okay. Two dumbs don't equal an intelligent.
Hernandez and Okaloosa
Where?
County.
Right there? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Hernandez and Okaloosa County Sheriff Sergeant Beth Roberts, who was on the scene, both...
The detained. Does that only mean in the car without police handcuffs? All right, here's the story before, I guess. Sorry, guys. I don't know. I talk a lot, man. I get animated. Come on, video footage. You see, there's the two different cops searching him. And where's that video footage coming from? Okay? Again, if there's only two cops on the scene, the guy and the girl, we kind of debunked that a minute ago by seeing that second cop car. Now there's two different cops searching him. And look like male cops. They don't have any gloves on. But the cop, when he starts rolling, doing Reno 911, has gloves on. A few minutes later, after they detain him in the car. Did he put on gloves again after the guy was already searched by these two officers? Again, too many questions for me. People just say, it's relaxed, it's simple. Nah. In today's world of propaganda and media disinformation and lies and deceit to progress an agenda, or, let's be honest, to defund the police, if that's what they want to do, they can manipulate events to make people look stupid or whatever. Again, they can do this. The event can be real, but it can be manipulated. But, I mean, I truly don't think that's what it is, but I still have questions, guys. I know you understand.
Later.
We have an obligation to our staff.
He resigned weeks later. Okay. Would any cop do that? He resigned weeks later. The video footage was taken in November of 2023. It was not released. All of a sudden, it went viral. Maybe it was released, last year, and we didn't find it till now. I do not know. But he resigned weeks later. So he resigned in December, before Christmas. Was he embarrassed? Why would any officer do that? Even if the video footage wasn't released at that time and did not go viral. And it's Christmas. You gotta pay your children's, Christmas holiday. Why would you resign? Why would you resign? Again, if it is a manipulated event, somebody got to him and said, hey, do this event. Only one person is needed to do that story. Only one person is needed, that cop, to make that event real. It was real, but there's only one person needed or manipulated to do that. Maybe somebody that wanted to create that event told him, this is what's going to happen one of these days, do this. And you'll get a bunch of money, and then you'll retire after, and you'll have all this money, and nothing will happen because you have qualified immunity and whatever the case. I'm just saying. That's the conspiratorial look at this. So all you need is for him to find the perfect moment, the perfect situation to do that. To specifically park under a tree, to put on gloves, to walk toward the car after the guy was already checked and then just start rolling and becoming an actor. Just saying. These are things that could happen. Not saying they did, but they could. But why resign 2 weeks later when it's not even public? He said we have an obligation. We have an obligation to train our cops better. Not that we have a duty and we have to. We have an obligation. Do we meet that obligation? Not technically. We don't meet it, but we have an obligation. We have an obligation.
We have just as equally and just as important of an obligation to our public. Even if they're being investigated for a felony crime, we have that same obligation to protect them.
In a recently released...
But we all know that the cops, their duty, they have an obligation to protect, but they don't have to uphold that obligation. Steven said he had been getting clowned in the department. I'm sure he was. But like I said, if it's manipulated, he don't care. Video comment, Police Academy show underrated. Hey Bauer, love the conspiracy talk. What's up, Mad Dog? Thank you so much for subscribing. Zen Johnson, spoiler, the guy in the car was unhurt. Bulletproof windows, question mark. There you go. Or the guy shoots like he's in the movie in Star Wars. He's like one of the troopers. He just misses Luke and everybody constantly. You know, I don't know, man. That's a good point, Zen. Like I said, it seemed like bulletproof windows. Jet Baby Neptune is saying they don't have bulletproof windows. How many times we seen him kicked out from the back set, bro? That is a good fact, Jet Baby Tooth. I agree with that. Again, but I do remember stories in the 90s, man. Like during the rap hip-hop culture, that cars were being fitted, that every car was being fitted with bulletproof windows. That was the fear-mongering they were putting to us in the 90s. So I'm sure you're right because of money nowadays, but that's what they were doing back in the days, Jet Neptune. I've seen cops shoot through their own windshield, but I'm not sure if the windows are bulletproof. They don't have bulletproof windows. We don't have cookies. I hope you get some cookies, because cookies are good. Cookies are good, y'all.
Obligation to our public. Even if they're being investigated for a felony crime, we have that same obligation to protect them.
In a recently released 44-page report of an internal investigation, it states Hernandez used excessive force. But for...
Hey, how are you? Trash day.
Sheriff Aiden offered his apologies to the man who was in.
Thanks for watching. Stay up.
All right, guys. Now, the lady Brittany, do you think she's at fault or she did everything right? Again, I understand their training, and from her perspective, you got to back the blue. You got to live that thin blue line. That's your partner. That's your people. That's your people. You got to do whatever. Hey, if they say they're, shots fired, you got to, Rambo! But if any of these officers were trained in patience, de-escalation, common sense, and intelligence, in my perspective, when he starts yelling, shots fired, before he was shooting, she should have said, I didn't hear nothing. But again, he started shooting, she heard shots fired, and then she's like, where, when, wow, who, why, where, why? And then he's like, in the car. She just blindly started shooting at his car. Doesn't even take a second to think about it. Again, in my opinion, it's just really sad. It's just really sad. Hopefully this sheds a light on police training. I still think this event can be manipulated by one person for an agenda to defund the police or to do this or do that, or to even change laws. Maybe even a police department did this event themselves. So that way they get more funding, they get better training, or whatever else might stem from this. Again, I don't know the true MO on why or how or exactly how or why this happened. But that's why it went viral, because it's so interesting, guys. But I live in the theory world. I ask questions without believing their answers. And I hope you guys enjoyed me reacting to it and from what I saw. And I think in all honesty that, man, the gentleman that, was saved or didn't get hit, that's a miracle. And I think everybody needs to thank Jesus for that. And I hope he sues everybody for millions upon millions and millions of dollars. Even the neighbors, even the people walking the street in that area, they need to sue. But here's the sad part about that. If they win money, guess who pays it? The taxpayers. That means the system is bad and gone, and it's ridiculous. Now, let's read this. Video comment, LOL, this is honestly your best argument that it's fake. He definitely could have gotten away with it. I guess maybe he genuinely felt bad and wanted to be off the street. Doesn't sound like a cop to me. Yeah, he's definitely not a cop or doesn't have his wits about him. Bigfoot Phil, I'm from Acorn Cops area. They hire a lot of chair force guys because we are surrounded by Air Force bases. Okay. And they don't want to go home because we live on the Gulf Coast. Us locals are pissed. Chair Force guys. We're going to be talking about Space Force in a little bit, y'all. Stick around. Naysayers, what's up? He would have a lawsuit for sure. All right. And now, here's what's kind of funny is we also had this event that happened the same day or the morning of the Super Bowl. And just some numerology for this event. It was at the mega church. Mega church. Hate crime, mega church. But this woman that was initially thought as a man as well, whatever, brought her son of 7 years of age to the mega church owned by Joel Osteen. And she was 36 years of age. That's 3 6s, y'all. If you want to do the numerology and the math. But the place was called Lakewood. Happened the day of the Super Bowl. Lives were saved. But there's thousands of cops out there and whatever. But it happened the same day as the Super Bowl. The morning of. Again, I believe in manipulated events. So I live in that world, guys. Now, the same day of the Super Bowl, a lot of rumors were that there was going to be an event or something that would happen during the Super Bowl because it was all programmed, but it looks like it might have been a few events. And the Super Bowl was used as a distraction to progress agendas for many, many things. And during the Super Bowl, there was Israel attacked the city of Rafah. That's the city that after the attacks on Israel, that Israel told all the people, if you want to be safe and in a better community while we're attacking Gaza, if you want to be safe, go to the area of Rafah. Now they're attacking Rafah, where the people thought they might have been saved or a little bit safer in that city. And this happened during the Super Bowl. During the year's biggest television event in the U.S., Israel launched an attack on Rafah, hoping Americans wouldn't notice. These are distractive tactics. Now the strikes are part of NFL history. Pretty interesting, guys. Then, right before the Super Bowl, or right after the Super Bowl, later that night as well, the Senate passed a $95 billion aid package for Ukraine and Israel. That's right, in the middle of the night. In the middle of the night, after everybody's drunk and whatever from partying during the Super Bowl, they had a Senate session where the Senate passed a $95 billion aid package. $95 billion. They won't even help our homeless, but they give migrants credit cards. They give migrants hotels. They give migrants room and board. And they give other countries, forgive me, $95 billion to support them. Where does that money come from? Again, they print it. All money is fake. But they did this as a distraction as well during the Super Bowl. This is evil type stuff. All of this stuff. And why the shooting at the megachurch? Why? That was a Christian religion. The Super Bowl is known as a demonic event. At least the halftime show is. This was a demonic day of events. It was a demonic week of events. Some of these things happened a couple days before, a couple days after, some during. It's insane. But now, as a conspiracy theorist, I try to connect the dots. Doesn't mean the dots always connect. It's not tic-tac-toe. I'm not saying I'm correct. But like Fox says, the truth is out there. Why would they do a passing of a $95 billion deal in the middle of the night after it's already been denied or supposedly put on the floor that it wasn't going to get approved? Well, because all the Republicans and other people that would not approve it were sleeping and didn't show up. And it barely passed. It's still probably dead on arrival, the bill. I don't know how all that politics, all that politics stuff works. But here's another interesting thing that happened during all of this. Not only the shootings. Where did they get the $95 billion from? We all know it's the United States of America Bank or corporation. But here's what happened hours before the Super Bowl. The Nigerian country mourns as authorities investigate a helicopter crash that killed a major bank CEO. How many banks are literally in Africa? And Africa is on the world stage of money and cooperation, and with wars and this and that and you know minerals and whatever else we take from Africa, in a world bankster economy. But 10 hours in California on his way to the Super Bowl event that he was gifted tickets to. That's right. You all know that these banks talk to each other, and money and agendas and bills and whatever pass hands. They tell the Nigerian bank, hey, this is what's going to happen. Your bank is going to fund it, or we're going to send you this amount of money for this to happen with your bank, or you're going to take on these criminals or these corporations. You're going to put the money in your bank. Whatever our countries do, whatever our banksters do to each other. And if somebody doesn't do what they're told, can they be crushed? Can they be unalived? Well, this Nigerian head of a major bank in Africa, the CEO, got gifted Super Bowl tickets for the event, for the procedures, and a helicopter ride. So they flew into America, took a helicopter, and it crashed. right before the Super Bowl. Now, somebody else is going to be put as the CEO, and they passed a $95 billion deal with Ukraine to aid Israel and Ukraine. Maybe some of that money is coming from some sort of a bank deal that these people did, and they had to unalive this man. Oh, it was just a normal plane crash. Well, they do have weapons that can take down helicopters and make it look like a crash. I mean, they're called DEWs. Direct energy, and you know the rest. I'm not saying this is what really happened, but it's really interesting how he was gifted Super Bowl tickets. He's flying down there, all expenses paid, and he passes away. A lot of people have died in unalived in helicopter crashes. I mean, didn't Kobe Bryant start a production company to seek out PEDO rings, and he became an owner of a big company that has involvement with the U.S. government? Didn't Kobe do that before? I don't know. You guys have to look into that yourselves. You guys have to look. I mean, none of this is connected. None of this. None of this. None of this is connected. Nothing. 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 Just like we drew it up. None of this is connected. The shootings, the Super Bowl teams with the color of red and black, the halftime show, the demonic symbolism, the Nigerian, the helicopter crash, the Israel going to war, none of it's connected. None of it. None of it. Or, I mean, you know. That's our president, y'all. We all know it wasn't him that said it, but still. That ain't funny. Howdy hey, Bower Patch Kids. Zen Johnson, no money for the peoples. Yeah, they give each illegal immigrant a phone and $3,000. Exactly. Naysayers, I saw an American homeless guy go to Mexico just to cross back into America and get help. That is smart. That is smart, naysayers. Remember the Titanic took down all the main bankers and people opposed to the federal bank? That's right. There you go. Zen coming with the knowledge of the Titanic sinking and that event. Every day it's something new. That's what should scare everybody about this world. Hey everybody, please do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up, that like, that subscribe button. Consider becoming a member of this channel for exclusive and early content. And consider donating, super chatting me, and helping me make a living so I can do more videos like this. Because we all know YouTube does not support at all. So it's up to you guys, and I appreciate you, and hopefully I earned your subscription and your respect. All right, guys, let's talk about this event. This happened after the Super Bowl, where there was apparently a shooting, just like we had another 2 or 3 of them earlier that we talked about, at the Chiefs parade. And the people were not identified online that were arrested or whatever. And they were saying it's because they're of a different ethnicity or race. And the news media only wants to promote an agenda. But could this be a manipulated event as well for GUN control? Yes, it can. There's like 3 couples on every news media stream. The 3 same couples. Oh, I was there. I took down the guy. I saw what happened. You know, there's always possible crisis actors. But it's easy to make something like this happen. Again, I'm not saying it was fake. I'm saying it really happened, but there could have been bad actors that made it happen. We all know that FBI, CIA, other people like that, they manipulate events. And they will KILL their own people to progress agendas for their evil corporate overlords. I mean, if you're not as far down that rabbit hole of conspiracies as like some of us are, it's okay. You don't see some of it when it's manipulated or there are crisis actors. It's okay. But it does happen. You can easily do something like this with one or two people to progress GUN control, especially in Kansas City, which is one of those states that allow you to have it and open carry, and there's less laws. And that's why the shootings also sometimes always take place as well in Texas. It's funny how most of these events where they call for GUN control after happen in states or areas with less than ideal, they call it, GUN laws. That's why if an event happens there, they can say, oh, in Kansas, you got to at least look at it and you got to start making some better laws for GUN control. And that is possibly what happened here. And then this is what burns my britches. Mr. Pfizer, Mr. $20 man from Pfizer, Mr. Pfizer, that's part of the Psyop, that is Taylor Swift. Of course he's going to have a response to the event that happened at his post-game parade. Travis Kelce, Mr. Pfizer, Mr. Psyop, Mr. CIA, Mr. Bought and Paid For said, there needs to be more strict GUN laws, especially when toddlers are dying. We cannot have that in our communities. And he's talking about Kansas City, the place that has less strict GUN laws. A person that should be all about America and this and that and the Constitution and the rights apparently is not. Apparently he's not for the rights of my body, my choice, becoming Mr. Pfizer for $20 million. He's not about the GUN rights for his Kansas City Missourians, that he wants more laws. And they always use children as the catalyst, because that gets our heartstrings. Oh, she was a mother of 4. Oh my God, little babies. Oh. Meanwhile, in Chicago, they're being KILL'd every day in the streets. Ain't no news coverage. Ain't nobody putting stricter laws. No, they're not doing that in Chicago and other cities. Just makes you think, guys. Makes you think. All right, let's get into the halftime Decoded Superbowl show. Let's decode it from my perspective. Just want to say, everybody online, what's up again? Zen, Ganja, Krusty, everybody that's still online. If you're still online, in the video below wrote, this is a good show. That's a huge bit. All right, guys, let's get into the halftime show. A lot of people don't know what this is, but in my opinion, I've been into symbolism for many years. I grew up semi-religious in multiple factions. Am I really religious? No. Do I believe in God? Not as they explain it. But symbolism has been prevalent in my life throughout, and I didn't understand most symbolism till, maybe the past 10, 12 years. Now I see it everywhere. I started studying the symbolism and the stuff, and I know possibly its meanings. I mean, every symbol or symbolism can have multiple meanings to anybody. But if you trace back the roots of each individual symbol, then you're going to know the official meaning, even though the meaning of that symbol or that symbolism has gotten corrupted as the years went along. If you really study the history of certain symbols, you're going to know what that symbol or that symbolism means. And symbolism is all around us in every design, every toy package, everywhere. But sometimes they purportedly put out symbolism on purpose to tell everybody else that's watching and educated in the world of symbolism or a part of their club, it's a big damn club and you ain't in it, said George Carlin, rest in peace. And now the Super Bowl has been hijacked. The halftime show as well. Many people think the Super Bowl is rigged or NFL is rigged, and it can be. It can be. And it also cannot be. You only need one or two people to rig a Super Bowl. And one of those or two of those could be a certain referees to make a certain type of call in the middle of the game, toward the end of the game, or whatever. That's how simply and easily rigged a game can be rigged. Now, do I think it's like WWE, the NFL, where they literally have scripts? No, not really. But they do want an outcome. Hey, we want the Chiefs to win. Oh, we want this person to win. You know, and they tell a referee this or that, you know, hey, the Chiefs are the favorite this week. You know, you can earn some bonuses or do something like that. Or the NFL can hire a team to referee the Super Bowl that is basically on their payroll. Because they want a referee in a Super Bowl, so they're going to do everything they can during the season to referee a Super Bowl. Because if you get to be a part of that team that referees the Super Bowl, you get a ton more money, ton more exposure, and it's also like joining the Illuminati or whatever, you know, that's what they do. But the Super Bowl halftime show, for the latter part of about 15 years, now we're all awake and we start decoding the halftime shows. And they do it at the Olympic ceremonies. They do it at other events where they show you, possibly they predict the future through symbolism, and they show it in front of your face. And then a few years later, everything that they were showing you possibly came true. So I look forward to trying to find the symbolism in these halftime shows, and they're mostly of a demonic, a satanic nature. For the most part, just like all concerts with rap artists and, you know, these artists nowadays, these drug-infused, you know, planted musicians and artists, it's all satanic and demonism because many people believe we're at war. We're in a holy war and it's constant. And, you know, we have demons trying to be a part of this earth and take it over and all that other stuff. Again, it's a lot to process, guys. But let's get started. Let's get started on the interesting stuff that maybe a lot of people didn't see. This happened during the game, though, okay? We got the Ice Spice, all right? She was standing next to Cinnamon Spice, Latin Spice, you know, Caucasian Spice, Taylor Swift. Whatever spices were there, okay? Ice Spice did a bunch of at-home shows for Kim Kardashian and her daughter. Northwest, I believe her name is. Ice Spice is one of Kim Kardashian's favorite people. Well, Kim Kardashian is a big person with Balenciaga. Balenciaga had a controversy with symbolism of a sexual nature with little kids and teddy bears and BDSM and human trafficking. Balenciaga made a campaign of their clothing line with little kids holding their teddy bears with symbolism and all this other stuff about a year or so ago, okay? And Kim Kardashian's daughter is represented by Balenciaga. Kim Kardashian is represented by Balenciaga. Kanye West had some issues with Balenciaga. But Ice Spice cinnamon spice, whatever spice you want to come up with her name. I mean, she's a cross between Ice Ice Baby and the Spice Girls with a carrot top hairdo. And what color is her hairdo? Orange. What is the symbolism of the events that are manipulated? Well, if you're in the know, the color purple and orange are always at events that are manipulated or people with an agenda. And the color orange is one of the big colors that shows you that person has either been manipulated, is a part of the system, and they're progressing whatever it is they're progressing. Well, she has her orange Ice Spice hairdo. She has, some believe, an upside down cross that she sports. And during the game, she's sporting, it's the Hook'em Longhorn symbol. No, it's the Baphomet symbol. If you do the Hook'em Horn symbol, it's a little bit different. I'm not going to do it. People are going to call me a shill and this and that. But she's doing the Baphomet signal, a satanic symbolism for the devil and that culture, while wearing Balenciaga. In a BDSM fashion of black and silver. But this happened, sorry guys, I'm feeling some sort of way. This all happened at the same moment she's looking at the Trinitron, or whatever they call it, the big screen, when her and Taylor Swift got on the big screen. Now, here's what happens. A lot of people don't see this video footage. Taylor Swift, at this moment, and it happened in the third quarter, at 9 minutes and 33 seconds, 33 in an Illuminati number, all of a sudden, Taylor Swift and her people was put on the Jumbotron at 9:33. Remember that number. We're going to talk about it a little bit more in this show. Was put on the screen at 9:33. Taylor Swift and Ice Spice were already looking and waiting for them to come on. So when the screen comes on and the video footage that you see, they're already looking. Then Taylor Swift goes into chugging mode at that exact moment. Once it comes on screen, she takes a drink and puts it down. They were waiting for that moment. It was manipulated. It was placed there. Ice Spice is also looking for that moment. And a lot of people are not going to see her symbolism because Taylor Swift is sharing drinking to her young age audience and chugging alcohol. Or it could have been a soda. Could have been water. Okay. But she's doing that, presenting that agenda. Then at the same moment, Ice Spice is doing the Baphomet symbol. Then she picks up the upside down cross and represents that to the world. That moment was manipulated, it was planned, and it was there for a reason. That's all I'm going to say about that. Now, this is from another artist under the same label as Ice Spice, but this is on The Voice, and this just proves how the symbolism goes across the world of the, what is it called? The as above, so below. This is John Legend. Look at what the girl next to him does. She has a up, as above, so below symbolism. Look, and her shirt says life force. Life force of the devil, as above, so below, a satanic symbol. Then she looks at John Legend. Uh-oh, was I supposed to do that? And they're wearing the colors of red and black. What was the colors of every team in this year's Super Bowl? Red and black. As above, so below, another demonic symbolism, guys. And then here's the Baphomet symbol. As above, so below. Look at the hands. Might be a little hard to see with little kids looking at it. Then you got the wings. As above, so below. That's the rule of the satanic culture. That is the symbolism. Now, we saw Ice Spice do the Baphomet. We saw Taylor Swift drinking and showing debauchery in drinking to little kids. And we just saw John Legend and his co-host doing the As Above, So Below in the colors of red and black, which were the two Super Bowl teams. Now, Usher in the halftime show. It was a good halftime show, guys. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Usher. I thought he did a fantastic job. It wasn't as demonic as the previous ones did, like with The Weeknd. I enjoyed it. I haven't really placed together the order of his music, but these are the few things I saw, and I gotta remind you guys. I drank on Super Bowl weekend. I had that rum. I had a lot of that rum that I had left over, guys, and I drank and I ate some nachos, and it was my birthday the next day, so I went a little crazy. So honestly, I was blacked out, drunk, before the second half. And I also was supposed to go to an event before the game to watch the game with somebody, and I just messed up. I made some really bad choices, and I got blacked out, and I had a horrible couple days after. But I rewatched the game and the halftime show, and this is the symbolism I saw from my perspective rewatching it. Usher came out wearing all white. The purity of all white. Okay? He's also possibly ushering in the NWO, a new world order, a new regime, a new culture, the Great Reset, whatever it might be, in the Super Bowl that's in Vegas. Sin City. That's right, Vegas is Sin City. And that's where the red and black satanic Super Bowl colors happened. He came out wearing this lapel, and I was like, where do I know that lapel from? Is that an Illuminati phoenix? It is. Sometimes these are rituals and orientations to become a part of the club. And we all know about the music industry and the Illuminati and those type of stories. We've heard them for years. Okay? And normally, artists go to die and their career ends when they get a residency in Las Vegas. They're at the tail end of their career. They're just there to make a bunch of money off of their former hits, and they're possibly not going to have many more albums or future, hot #1 singles after having a residency for years in Vegas. It's kind of like, for most people, the tail end of their careers. Now, that cannot be the case for everybody, because they've been hiring younger artists to do residencies nowadays. But still, it is still looked upon in that fashion. But maybe Usher joined the club at this Super Bowl. He also apparently got married before this Super Bowl, earlier that day. But he came out wearing the Illuminati Phoenix, the Phoenix Rising, the entering of a new world, and he's clean and pure, wearing all white. Also, it's in Las Vegas. Look at the dollar symbols and the money symbols that you can see on the upper right with the eagle. Now, in the Baphomet symbol that we just looked at a few minutes ago, they always have wings. So, that's some interesting symbolism, guys, from my perspective. Now, they came out on roller skates, and they were wearing black and blue. Is that an ode to the police? But it looked like Tron. It looked like the movie Tron, as they're ushering in a new digital age with manipulated events and their outfits and stuff like that. So, he went from white to black and blue. From purity to black and blue. And black and blue. Black and blue, I can't even say it. Black and blue is normally the color of a bruise after you've been hit. So, again, you can find whatever symbolism you want in this. But he started out the show in white. He ended up going to black and blue. And then also there was this moment with Alicia Keys at a piano that doesn't look like a piano, that looks like a gateway, a portal, something that you would stand on in the movie Thor, you know? And then behind her, a flailing of, in my opinion, some demonic entrance. As she is like the queen of evil, the evil color of red, satanic symbolism. She's at a piano. She's standing or sitting on what looks like to be a key or a keyhole or a portal, like in the movie Thor. Now, I saw holographic images on the broadcast. I saw holographic images on the repeat of the broadcast on YouTube, where that dress or back part of her dress or whatever it is that has all the wind, I thought it was a hologram. I know it wasn't, because I did see wires holding some material. But some of it could have been a hologram, because I saw images like this where I paused it. But the material was not that big to do all of that stuff. Then there was a moment where the material was let go and you see it go off or fall, but then you see like a holographic image disappear. They could have been using technology of actual material and holograms, because I saw these type of images in the material of like a gate or a demon trying to enter. That's from my perspective, maybe not yours. But they were testing out holographic technology during this performance and laser technology. And it was very, very interesting. Now, Usher went back to the color of white after being bruised, but now he has the color of silver. Then, during the performance of Alicia Keys, everybody, oh, how dare he touch her? How dare he touch her? Well, think about this in the way that I just mentioned. Alicia Keys is like coming into this world as a demonic symbolism. And now, the person that was pure, wearing all white, now has riches of silver and gold, and attaches himself to the satanic creature symbolism in an embrace, as to, I am here and you will now follow me as you're in my embrace. That's my take from it, and I'm going to stick to that. Now, something interesting with Drake, y'all. And this is numerology again. Drake placed a bet, and apparently he won $2.3 million after placing that bet. Well, this is coming a week or so off of us finding out he possibly has a big D. You know, he wanted to get some of that Taylor Swift media coverage, and he wanted to dispel the rumors about his size. So his PR team got right on top of that. And now he's thought of in the good gracious. Now, he's possibly talking about making a bet and winning $2.3 million. 33. Illuminati symbolism. He's also wanting to be recognized by the Superbowl people, because they need a halftime show for next year. Many people think Usher shouldn't have done it this year, but it was based in Vegas, and he is their new Illuminati puppet. And plus, he's ushering in the new digital Illuminati age. Next year, it'll probably be Taylor Swift, because she's enhanced with the NFL. It might be Taylor Swift and Drake. But these are the next 2 or 3 puppets that are going to be brought into this world. Now, apparently, with numerology as well, there was many connections with Taylor Swift's favorite number of 13 to the Super Bowl. You guys can look online and find all those connections yourself. Super Bowl happened on February 13th. Her favorite number is 13. 13 is unlucky. 13 is the symbolism for a lot of crazy things and manipulations and agendas. So let's quickly look at a couple of those, guys. All right, let's look at the Masons, Illuminati, and the number 13. Masons. The pyramid is 13 bricks high on the dollar bill. Novus Ordo Seclorum, Latin for New Order of the Ages. The star symbol of a blessing on the $1 bill. They have the wings, the phoenix type symbolism that we just showed. It has 33 and 32 feathers, 13 stripes, 13 arrows, and 13 leaves. Taylor Swift and the number 13, and all the numbers that I mentioned that equal 33 and 13 so far in today's show. Now, is Taylor Swift a psyop? Well, now some new information has come to light. Is Taylor Swift a former satanic leader? Well, on the right, you got, I forget her name, but she's a leader. She used to be the girlfriend of the creator of the Satanic Church. Taylor Swift looks a lot like her in that family realm. I don't know, guys. She might be a family member. It might actually be her. I don't know. You know, they got that blood that I can't talk about from the children. Pretty interesting thoughts, guys. Again, you can do this with a lot of people. Doesn't mean it's real. Doesn't mean it's fake. But I also, and I haven't told many people this, and hopefully it's not too long, but I've always created this theory in my head after watching, I forgot the TV shows where they created humans that were like robots, where they lived like in the old, Westworld was one of the shows, where they created like robots, and with the DNA technology and the flesh and the this and the that, and the AI, and they created robots, right? That looked human, acted human, and could be human. There's a lot of cartoons like Family Guy, where like Miley Cyrus is a robot, or Taylor Swift is, a robot or something like that. But I have always, for many years, whenever I see people that almost always look alike, I started recognizing it, that people have certain features. And then I started thinking, what if God or whoever created humanity, or us aliens, or us creatures, or us humans, whatever you call us, what if there was only a certain amount of designs? What if there was only a certain amount of designs? You get it? For structures. Maybe 100. To where you can find people looking like each other, because there's only typically 100 different designs of that type of person. Maybe 50 of a woman and 50 of a man. I started thinking about that. So I start watching people and looking at people, and I go, you know what? A lot of my features are in that person. Like with a couple little different skin color or eye color or this or that, that person could literally look like me, or I could be them. With less weight or this or that. Like it's the structure of like the image of who I am or they are, and I could look like somebody else. So I started thinking, like, if we had molds, you get it? We all start from DNA, apparently. Again, I really got to look into all that stuff, because DNA was barely discovered about 10 years ago, 20 something years ago. But if we all start like as molds, like they do in horror movies, where they all have the same structure, but then little things are added to make them different, there might possibly only be a certain amount of molds or creations in the DNA structure for humanity. And I write down, I have a little book, I need to take pictures of it, but I write down how many molds I think there are. Every time I see somebody that doesn't fit a mold that I already think I saw, I write down that might be a new mold. And then I'll write like Taylor Swift. But then when I see somebody on a movie or a TV show, and then the image comes to me, I go, oh my God, that reminds me of the mold that could have been Brad Pitt or somebody else like that. Then I write it down. I'm like, oh, I'm going to make up a name. You know, Jason Smith looks like Brad Pitt is in the same mold. And I've only come up with, as of now, 13 molds. Again, there's many more people that I look at or I see and I can't place them in a mold, in one of the 13 molds in my mind. But I haven't gotten past to see 2 of those same type of people that would create a 14th mold. I personally haven't seen it or thought about it in my theory. So, basically my theory is how many molds of DNA or genetic material are literally there to where we could all create from. And I don't know, but I'm stuck at the number 13 right now. This is after about 8 years of doing this. I know I could research harder, and I don't look every time I watch a TV show or a movie or I see an interview with a person, I don't immediately place them in a mold. It's too much work. It's just when it hits me, I go, ooh, they look exactly like this person, or I have never seen that person, but they look vaguely familiar to this mold. Again, it's a wild thing that I think about, but the number 13, now that we're talking about it, reminded me of my theory of molds. Let me know your guys' thoughts on that. It's pretty damn interesting to me. Because again, if we are creations like toys, they are molds, and we're all made from them, and they just add things on top. I don't know. It's pretty interesting. Naysayers, Bauer, you are so good at breaking this stuff down. It looks like a keyhole. You're exactly right. Like the movie Ghostbusters. You know, are you the Keymaster? Remember, the Keymaster was protecting a demon. The Keymaster in Ghostbusters was protecting a demonic source. Now, like I said, when we talk about Alicia Keys, she's possibly the demonic key person, and she's in a keyhole. Pretty interesting stuff, man. Thank you. My girlfriend showed me all that 13 stuff. My girlfriend is all in on this stuff now. That's awesome, brother. Josh watching Drake has so much money he can place a bet and allegedly won him millions, and I can't afford to give you a few bucks to become a member to your channel. Oh, Josh, I love you, brother. Hit that like or subscribe, man. Appreciate it. Wish Drake would donate a membership to me. Well, you'll get one, mother. You'll get one, brother. God only has, I don't know if I can gift memberships unless I pay. I don't know. Maybe I'm able to do that. I don't know. I got to look into it. 13, there's that number again. Jennifer Half, why is my Lord and Savior up on the screen? Well, you're a big fan of Taylor Swift, and kudos to you. I was just breaking down some stuff from my perspective. And then let me just let everybody know whether she's your Lord and Savior, Jennifer. I'm going to let everybody know that Taylor Swift is not a psyop. She is not a psyop. Because the media's told us she's not a psyop. And I love this guy. His name is Dollar Vigilante. I enjoy him. He's the one that inspired me to try to do walk and talk videos where I walk and talk about things. And I need to do a few more in the future, but I've been struggling lately. But his name is Dollar Vigilante. And let's just prove that Taylor Swift is not a psyop. Because the media told us.
This is what they do with all their pops, Illuminati, celebrity types.
Good morning. Taylor Swift is not a psyop. Taylor Swift is not a psyop.
Taylor Swift is not a psyop.
Taylor Swift is not a psyop.
Taylor Swift is not a psyop.
Taylor Swift is not a psyop.
Taylor Swift is not a psyop.
Taylor Swift is not a psyop.
Taylor Swift is not a psyop.
Taylor Swift is not a psyop.
Taylor Swift is not a psyop.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. And they'll totally destroy her in the end. She'll end up like Britney Spears dancing with knives in Las Vegas with big black marks under her eyes, looking like horrible. Yeah, they say Taylor Swift.
It's so funny, guys. Now, I cannot not be a truthful or a truther and not tell you that the media footage of her saying, or of them saying Taylor Swift is not a psyop, I watched it. It looks manipulated, like they just ad-libbed those words on those media artists. Because there was a video that came out during the pandemic where every media force was saying the same thing, that the vaccine vaccine was good for everybody. And then the media, the news reporters and all that, they get a script and they're supposed to speak from that script. And they all said the same thing. So they showed contrasting videos where every local media news channel said the same exact script. That's why they made that Taylor Swift is not a psyop video. It is fake. You know, so people say, it's fake. Their words didn't even match their lips. But it's just a funny video. And it's truthful. It's truthful. Because the media did start talking about Taylor Swift and how she is possibly a psyop or not a psyop. They didn't say it in the manner that they showed right there, but they literally started talking about it. It went viral. How could a news story like that about conspiracy theorists calling Taylor Swift a psyop go viral? That means we're seeping into the mainstream and people are waking up. David Durango said, Mr. Bauer, what's up, brother? I got Hollywood actors confused all the time. The other night I was watching Death Race. The other night I got Al Pacino mixed up with Ian McShane. She had a good ass. Jennifer Haft, I'm a Swiftie for sure. That's cool, man. And do you. Do you. I had a crush on her when she was a country music artist. And now, here's what's funny. Taylor Swift went from being a country artist to pop culture icon, whatever she is now, a psyop. And then now Beyonce is taking the alternative route, went from a pop culture icon, and now she's a country artist. Same storyline in reverse. That guy looks like Andrew Lincoln. Come back in about 35, 40 minutes. But now, let's watch the amazing interview with Sarah Garcia, Moongirl, a mistress of the paranormal and ghost and stuff like that. She was a great interview, and I'm trying to work on my interview skills where I let them talk more than me telling the stories, and I'm starting to learn to be a better communicator. So every interview, every podcast is a work in progress, but this was a good one. We did have some delay and tech issues like always, but she was a fantastic guest, and I want you guys to get to know a little bit about her. And let's watch about 30 minutes of the interview. And if you want to watch the full interview, it is online. And maybe in the future, if I don't have another guest available, she might come on and we can talk about some other subjects. So hopefully you guys enjoy this little quick tease. And check her out. Sarah Garcia, Moongirl, mistress of the paranormal. And I'll see you guys in about 35 minutes. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's interview podcast of the Happy Alien Show that you are watching. This is the exclusive members only version live stream where we got a very special guest on today's show. We got a paranormal expert here that's going to hang out and talk some ghost stories and talk the paranormal, and we're going to have a good conversation. This lady needs no introduction, but we're still going to do it anyways. So check this out. This is her bio. Let's get to it. She is known as Moongirl, mistress of the paranormal, aka Sarah Garcia. A psychic medium discovered her abilities and has been connecting with spirits since a very young age in childhood. Moongirl is a paranormal investigator and divination reader. Hope I read that right. Since the age of 12, she is known for spending the night alone in haunted locations from jails, catacombs, residential buildings. Are you a hoarder, a squatter? Residential buildings and other sites. She takes different approach to investigating, not only by relying on her mediumship, but also incorporating different forms of divination. I got to look up that word. To read a haunted location, from basic to more obscure ones, such as Chinese face readings. Chinese, I thought I went in the racial category right there for a second. Chinese face readings, fluoromancy, nepholomancy. Wow, I got a lot to learn on today's show. Runes, tea leaf readings, shell, bone, teeth pick, coffee grind, tarot, oracle readings, and more. Moongirl incorporates different spiritual practices into her spiritual work. She is also an actress and will be working on some upcoming projects, and soon has worked in the production. Host of the Paranormal Dolls, which airs on Roku TV, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Spotify, iHeartRadio. This girl is big time. Conscious, The Awakening Network, Glenda's Magical Creations channel, Parapost Network, Google, and many other platforms. She's been featured on Refinery 29 magazine, and many articles have been written on her in newspapers and podcasts. She is also an instructor where she teaches divination classes. Well, I hope that was a very, very good reading. And now let's introduce Moongirl, a.k.a. Mistress of the Paranormal, Sarah
Hi.
Garcia. How you doing, Sarah?
Excited to be here and to see your handsome face, of course.
I don't know if she's flirting, but I like it. I like it.
Happy early birthday.
How about that?
Happy early birthday. Happy Aquarius season.
Thank you very much. So everybody that's online right now, thank you guys for chiming in. Get some questions in below. Feel free to super chat, donate, and all links to her channels are down below. If you'd like to get a hold of her, get some readings per her career, all links and information are down below. So let's start with the first question.
Okay.
If you don't mind. What is paranormal? Explain it.
Paranormal phenomenon, it doesn't necessarily have to be about ghosts. A lot of it, yes, it's ghost paranormal, but it could be even talking about cryptics. This could even be aliens. This could be, so many things. It doesn't have to just be ghosts, spirits, demons, that type of thing.
What attracted you to this type of culture or this type of world and the abilities that you apparently have so many of? What got you started where you realized this is kind of like my life, my career, my work?
Well, since I was a very young child, I would have a lot of sleep paralysis, and I would see spirits. And I was pretty terrified. And I am Hispanic, so the majority of us where I'm from are Catholic. Okay. Not really practicing Catholic, but nevertheless. So I would try to tell my parents, my grandmother about this, and they wouldn't believe me, and they'd force me to go in the room, or they would tell me it's just a dream. And it got to a point where there's no way this was a dream. I would see things at night trying to lunge at me, and I was terrified. I couldn't move. That's what sleep paralysis is. I couldn't move till one day when I was in school. My grandmother and my mother tried to go put some clean laundry, and this is the daytime, and they finally saw that thing that's been bothering me for so many years. It lunged at them, this big dark shadow, and they were terrified, and they never questioned me again. And as far as the divination work and paranormal, I always tell people it was like a light switch. I was a child, 11, you're a child, playing with toys, dolls, whatever, and then as soon as I turned 12, it was like a light switch. I just felt like I was remembering things. So I took on divination work very easily. Me and a dear friend of mine, we would do the best we could as kids, because back then it was really hard. We'd make our own little tarot cards out of paper and write their names, or little wood pallets out of, make Ouija boards. And we would try to do the best we could paranormal investigating, going to little cemeteries and little places we thought were haunted or abandoned. And it just grew from there.
Wow, sleep paralysis is something that's very interesting to me, because I think I've had it happen to me on a few occasions, but I didn't understand what it was until recently. I started watching movies or subjects or meeting people like you that explained what that was. But I've had instances where I've literally woken up, cannot move my body, and I felt like I've seen images in the room of something or a shadowy figure. Can you tell one of your actual experiences? Was it an entity, or is it just your body? Can you explain what spiritual paralysis is?
Well, this is the scariest one that had happened to me. And this was the same one that kept bothering me for the longest time. That house was really haunted, first off. Not only haunted by spirits, but there was also something very negative, because there's a difference between spirits and something demonic, and there was both in that place. So this, I really feel like it was something more demonic, and you can't tell the difference if you are an investigator medium. The energy is totally off. But this is probably the scariest one I had. I was very young still, and I woke up because I was gonna go to school, right? So this is early. My mom would do a thing where she would turn on the TV really loud, so I would wake up. And I woke up, and my eyes, I couldn't move. I see this thing in the corner. It was so dark. It was nighttime, but as black as it was, you could still see the shape of it, even though it was night. And it didn't have a head, and it was getting closer and closer, and I was terrified, and I couldn't move. All I could do was close my eyes. And I was thinking in my head, oh my God, if I yell, my mom might hear me. If I hit my head, on the back of the wall, maybe I couldn't move. And it seemed like it was that way forever. I'm sure it was, a minute or so or two, but I was really terrified. I was so scared. Yeah. And after a while, I was finally able to run out of my room. And that one stayed with me the most.
Yeah, I'm not trying to freak you out with this question, but I'm a big movie fan, and I remember Ghostbusters, and there's a famous scene in the movie Ghostbusters where there is a spirit or an entity above one of the Ghostbusters' bed, and apparently the ghost or entity wants to possibly have sex with this Ghostbuster. So I had the thought, with sleep paralysis and stuff like that, do you actually think it could be of a sexual nature for a spirit or an entity to paralyze a person and maybe want to feel them or touch them or enter their body or something? It's just a thought.
Well, there is succubus and incubus, where they, it's kind of like a demonic thing that wants to get a little frisky with you. There is times, but even with spirits, say you were maybe you were a pervert person, or you were like a voyeur or something like that.
You just called me out. You said, if you're a pervert person.
and you passed away or whatever, this person could try to, touch you or something in the haunted location you're at. Like in jails, for instance, I've had spirit, and I get it. They haven't seen a woman in a long time. I've had them pull my pantyhose down, and I have actual video of that. So yeah, they can touch you, depending on the spirit, I guess.
Yeah, the reason I ask that is because, again, I believe they tell you the truth in movies and film, and I've seen images of like ghosts having sex or trying to with humans in a lot of TV and film. Maybe you haven't experienced it, but there was a show called Doom Patrol where they lived in a mansion and there were spirits in that mansion, but they were called the sex ghost. And they literally were having sex all the time and trying to connect with the human beings. So I'm thinking if they show us reality, maybe there literally have been ghosts or experiences by human beings where they've had a sexual encounter and they believe with a spirit.
No, absolutely, that is real. Like I said, there could be a spirit who, if they want to be frisky, or that was their nature in life, to be like a voyeur, or maybe they were, the R word, and you move into the place, or you're at that place, they can try to get frisky with you. I haven't had anything like that. The most I had, and that was like pulling my pantyhose down, but that was it. I never had any.
I love how you call it pantyhose. I think you're forgetting the S and the E. Hose.
Hose. Well, there's a roll of one. There's a roll of one, so it's like one leg and the other leg. It wasn't the whole. Yeah.
That's the definition of one versus two. A hoe is one, and if there's two of them, they're hoes.
They're hoes. Yes, that's right. Can't keep a good hoe down. But
oh God, I love you. You're fantastic. All right, so we talked a little bit about sleep paralysis, and okay, I think this is a good lead-in. Do you believe there's a hidden dark world, meaning maybe another alternate reality where these spirits or energies or whatever they call live in? And what are they? And what do you like? How do you place them in this world? Or are they in another world? I know it's a very loaded question. I just don't know how to explain all of this.
Well, I do feel like there's other dimensions, other parallel universes and stuff. And then there's those other things where, like, for instance, cryptics or even like duendes or elves, they're elementals. Do you know what I mean? So they do exist, and sometimes they kind of bleed. Sorry, they kind of bleed into ours.
We have a little bit of a delay. Forgive me.
That's okay. And they sometimes bleed into our dimension, and we into theirs. So there is a theory that shadow people may be one ghost, or they could be, other people or other beings, or even aliens that kind of, mesh into our reality.
Elementals. I mean, again, I'm a movie fan. It always comes back to movies. They had a movie called Elementals, and it was decent and enjoyable. But what are cryptids and elementals from your perspective?
Well, elementals would be like fairies. They'd be like duendes, which I did see a duende. I've always believed, but I had never seen one. Never, And the Latino culture, we talk about duendes and stuff like that. So my experience was, I was going to go to my room, and there was my restroom in the room. I start going in, and I see this, literally a little person with a red little afro, and it took me by surprise. It took whatever that was by surprise. We both jumped back. I was scared. It went into the restroom. There's no other place to go, and then it just disappeared. I kind of was shocked by it. I was like, what? I'm seeing things. No. And then it got a little bit more curious as time went by, and I would literally see it run really fast. But I had never seen it or experienced it ever in my life until a few years ago. I'm going to say back in 2017 or 16, one of those. But before that, I believe that I had never seen it. And prior to me seeing this at night, I would feel things on me, or I would feel like it felt like a spider web on my face, and I just figured, okay, maybe a bug was on my face or something. God knows what it did to my face, Michael, but it was there. It was there. But yeah, those would be elementals. But other people with duendes too, they can charge them. You know, they buy a toy duende. This is like big in Mexico. There's even a cemetery in Mexico called El Cementerio de los Duendes. So people will leave duendes there, or other people will come and pick those duendes up after, you know, and they will take them home with them. So they would charge them so they can activate them. Those are different than, you know, the actual real elementals.
Well, the only thing I know about the Latin culture, and maybe he's an elemental, but the chupacabra. What's up with the chupacabra? You ever meet the chupacabra?
I have never met the chupacabra, but here's the thing. If you remember back when it first came out, like 94, 95, 96, it was, I always thought it looked, what's it called? Like a lizard kind of. I thought it was an alien, honestly. It was really green and weird looking. And then all of a sudden they start changing and saying, oh, it's a dog. And the dog, I think that's a cryptid. That's an animal that has not been discovered, that's been breed differently. But the first chupacabra that they were talking about, that one, I always thought it was like an alien. It looked like a reptilian to me.
Yeah, good point. I live in the conspiracy world as well. And there's an institute off of the coast of, I believe it is New York or Long Island. And there was an animal that surfaced on the beach many years back called the Montauk. And it was an animal that was mixed with different animals and bone structures. And if you think about it, that might be reminiscent of a chupacabra type sighting for an animal that's different than anything we've ever seen. But the animal in the Montauk project that surfaced was already gone or passed away or killed or whatever. But chupacabra is a living entity. But it's a very interesting theory to really get into, because people want to call it a conspiracy, like, is Bigfoot real? Is the chupacabra real? I'll be honest with you. I believe all of these things are real.
I do too.
Some fashion.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the one that they recently started talking about, the chupacabra, the one that looks like a dog, I think that's like more on the cryptozoology. You know, again, an animal that's been breeded with God knows what, coyote, whatever it was. So I don't think that was the real chupacabra. I don't even know why they started calling the dog-looking thing a chupacabra. But the first one, again, back 94, 95, 96, the one that looked like a reptilian, I always believed that that was actually a real reptilian alien. But I do believe in Mothman. I believe in all these other things that are from another dimension.
Could I fall in love with you even quicker? You're talking about lizard people.
Hey, we're happy aliens here, man. We're happy aliens.
Oh my God, I'm falling in love, everybody. But so you believe in lizard people and that type of stuff? Are they considered aliens, or were they on here on Earth before, or they've been here forever?
I think aliens have always been here.
We're not talking about illegal migrants. We're talking about...
No. Leave my people alone, Michael.
Apparently I'm racist just for talking about it. I'm not trying to get political, but I do believe there is a problem with so many being freely able to come in without really, and I'm not trying to be rude, but like earn it. There are some people that are not earning it, you know, like many people in your family's past, I'm sure. They earned it, they deserve to it, but some people are given, you know, because they're allowed to. But that's political. I'm not going to talk about it. So, again, do you think spirits or paranormal activity is all from another world, like another dimension? Or are we all created on the same level? Just your thought process and all that.
No, like I said, some things I think they kind of bleed into our reality, which would be like the elementals or maybe some cryptics. But as far as spirits, I think they're, you know, they're here in our playing field. Now something demonic, I think that that's something else, something that's never had a, you know, a actual vessel. So those to me are something that's always been here, but they've, you know, they're evil, obviously. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, that could go a million different ways. Have you ever heard about, and we'll get into some ghost stories and stuff in a second. Born Mush said, imagine hooking up with a ghost. That'd be kind of hot. But I've been ghosted plenty of times.
Scary movie. That's the only thing I'm scared about when I go ghost hunting. Just kidding.
And then Naysayer said, this girl needs to be a co-host.
Hey, I'm down.
She needs to be a wifey. And a co-host. I'm just kidding. Okay, so where was I? Dude, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, have you ever heard about, before we get into more paranormal stuff, have you ever heard of CERN?
Yeah, the thing that they're doing. I think it's going to be here for a few years. So they're going to, is it Switzerland or something, right?
I believe it is Switzerland. But yes, it's a facility where they're trying to recreate the supposed Big Bang, where they built a hydrogen collider, and it's taking particles that are in the atmosphere of energy, and they're trying to recreate what supposedly started our Earth, our planet, our universe. But it went online in 2008. If you didn't know all this, it went online in 2008. And ever since 2008, if you want to look back to it, our world has changed.
They're opening the doors. Yeah, they're opening the doors, and there's a Mandela effect. Yeah. I believe that.
Yeah, so you believe.
Yeah.
And do you think Satan or the satanic culture, is that a spirit in that type of world, that demonic culture? Like, what is it?
Well,
is it God and Satan, you know, like?
Well, you're talking, okay, you asked a few, you're talking about people's religions now. You're saying like Satanists and stuff like that. You know, actually, Satanists don't really believe in the devil. They believe in free will. And that's a misconception. So a lot of people say, oh my God, that means that they just believe in free will. And some of them don't even really believe in the devil. So you have to kind of, you know, take that into consideration. And some people, yeah, they do worship the devil, and that's cool. That's their business, their prerogative, you know. But as far as demons, I do believe they exist. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a loaded question, but I think the religious aspect to God and Satan is meant to dumb it down for us people, because we can't understand it, and there always got to be good and evil, you know, yin and yang. There's always got to be that, but
light and dark.
I believe we're all energy, and do you believe there is a darkness to certain energies, or a light to certain energies, which would mean light would be good, dark would be supposedly bad or evil?
Well, there is light. You can't have light without dark, you know. Definitely the yin yang. You have to have dark. Even when the people tell you to do your shadow work, that's going within, you know, that's why they call it, you know, shadow work.
Shadow work.
Yeah.
I need to put in some work, but I don't want it to be shadow work. I want it to be out in front work where I can make a bunch of money. Born Mush said there's a cool movie about multiple universes called Coherent.
Ooh. Like I said, and other
are ghosts considered from another universe?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, and going back to CERN, and we'll close it out with this. But there's a multiple universe theory that when CERN Collider went online and opened portals or whatever, there's also a theory that it blew up our world. And we're all made of energy and that type of stuff. to where, think of a bunch of pieces of paper in multiple, each piece of paper is a different universe or, world or whatever. And they're all next to each other, but they're very thin and they're close to each other. If one of those pieces of papers or the nearest piece of paper, and then they would connect and become as one. And that would explain the Mandela effect. And the way we're remembering things and deja vu is because we've done it again. And maybe our universe did explode in 2008. The Mayans said that we were going to lose like the world or whatever around 2012. Maybe it happened in 2008 and or 2012.
Well, also the calendars back in the day, they wouldn't go by 12 months. They would go by 13 months. So actually, it would have been 2012. Yeah.
You mean 2013? Because they said it was December 2012.
Yes, but I'm saying that they used to go by. They used to go by 13 months instead of 12 months. So then it actually would have been 2012, like they predicted. That's what I'm saying. But yes, I do think that sometimes we can jump timelines.
Interesting. Do you have a Mandela effect or anything that you're just like, I don't understand it?
No, I don't think so. But I mean, I do have a lot of deja vu, for sure. But like as Mandela effect, where I used to think, something was called something else, like the Brunner's Bear. I forgot the book, but yeah, I remember that. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Yeah. But something personal, no, I don't think so. Yeah, something personal, no, just a deja vu.
All right. Let's get into ghost stories or paranormal. I don't know how to differentiate the two, but give me your that are just forever haunting or chilling, whether it be a ghost or a paranormal story. Again, I don't know how to differentiate the two.
County Jail, and I heard a woman yelling, and we were able to film it. And then you hear slams and taps, and those doors are really heavy. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. That's probably still one of my favorite evidence I've ever gotten, because I feel like it's kind of undisputed. And I can send you the video if you want to see it. And as in a personal one, my ex-husband back in the day, we lived in Corpus, and he would be at work all day long, and I had my little one, and he would cry when I would close the door to shower. And the only way he would stop crying in my hometown and, go over there again, and he'd be in the shower, and he'd be having a full-on conversation thinking I was already back home. And I'm like, no, dude, we're still on the road. And he says, I heard you talking to me. So that was pretty creepy. Other times where he actually saw me and it wasn't me, and vice versa. And it was pretty wild. There was a lot of activity in that place. Toys would go off all the time that you had to press buttons to. The alarms would go off all the time. It was pretty wild.
Let me get to Naysayer's question. He said, I've heard of shadow work, but I don't understand it. What is it?
It's basically going within and really being honest with yourself. Like if you're going through a rough patch, maybe like facing your childhood traumas and stuff like that. Okay. That's basically or any type of trauma you have, working through it, going through the motion and not keeping it to yourself anymore.
There's a Mandela effect. Oscar Mayer versus Oscar Mayer. Interesting.
I remember Oscar Mayer. It's always been Oscar Mayer.
But how was it spelled? With an A or an E?
I thought it was an A, no? I don't remember.
I gotta look it up. I don't know if it's an actual, E-Y or E. I think it's with an A. Maybe online nowadays it's with an E, but I gotta look that up later.
I remember it being with an E.
Do you know any spells?
Yes.
I don't know what it is. Do you know any spells? Are you considered a witch?
Yes. Well, you asked, yes.
I didn't know how to react to that. I don't know if I've been around plenty of bitches, but I haven't been around plenty of witches.
I've been around plenty of bitches and witches, so it's okay.
Okay, so what is your definition of a witch?
Well, to me, yes. I like different forms of religion, so I take what I relate with and I kind of meshed it up and made my own, religion, I guess, my own practice by that. So yeah, whatever resonates, which because you do, use stuff to make, I guess, if you want to call it spells or whatever, herbs, things like that. Yeah.
Interesting. The word witch has a bad connotation. I mean, whatever the word is, where people, the minute you hear the word witch, you think of it as negative. Why are you talking to that type of person? They're evil, they're demonic, they're satanistic, or whatever the case. How do you feel about that rhetoric?
Well, I don't think I'm evil. I think I'm a nice person.
So you're a nice person?
Well, it depends. It depends on the person. No, I mean, there's just some people choose to do darker arts, and that's fine. Some people choose to do lighter arts, or some people do both, and it's their prerogative. And I don't judge them for either. I know how to do both, and that doesn't mean you're a bad person. Actually, we do a lot of healing work. A lot of people come to us because they want cleanses or limpias, spiritual cleanses, kind of like a poor man's therapist and doctor. A holistic sense as well.
There it is, guys. There's your preview tease of Moongirl, aka Sarah Garcia. If you guys would like to check out the full version, there's an additional 40 minutes of that beautiful interview for members only. But in all honesty, it will be released in the full version probably in less than 10 days. So check that out, guys. Appreciate you for being a part of the channel. And if you guys would like to watch the full version, please consider becoming a member of this channel. It is available now. That being said, thank you guys for continuing. We're now entering the middle of our second hour of this week's Happy Alien podcast. Please hit that thumbs up, that like, that subscribe button. Consider becoming a member of the channel for exclusive and early content. And when I film these interviews, you guys can go live with us then as well and talk to Sarah and all the other guests that we have coming up in the future. We'll talk about next week's guest in a few more minutes. But Krusty HQ said, smart, beautiful guest. Sounded like someone had a set of 100 something Tannerite that shook the dang ground. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably something with my audio and my video. Technology. All right, let's get back into today's show. Again, thank you guys for being a part of today's show. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I've been having some rough couple of days emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. But it's all good. With your support and your love and your respect, we can make anything happen. All right, let's talk about some more subjects that interest me, that I want to talk about in this unique world. Then we're going to get into some pop culture, some movies and TV shows that I've recently watched. So, I just learned about this, and this also gets into the numerology that we talked about today. Was a rocket launched into space carrying remains of 330 people? 33. Including George Washington? Okay. Apparently this happened in January. And if you guys are a fan of any of my other videos, I don't even believe space is real. I have many questions on that aspect. And you guys wanted me to talk about Hollow Earth and Bigfoot and the Yeti. And I'll give you my quick thoughts in that in a minute or so. But let's read this. On January 8th, 2024, a rocket was launched as a part of Astrobotics Peregrine Mission 1, carrying 62 titanium capsules filled with human DNA. Okay, well, they complain about space trash, that there's billions upon billions of pieces of space trash and space technology that's dead in the air. But now they're sending up 62 titanium capsules filled with human DNA. Okay. Did the aliens on the moon request it? Is the moon even real? The aliens on the dark side of the moon? I don't know. They sent 62 titanium capsules filled with human DNA and cremated remains to be deposited on the moon. Is this legit? Why wasn't this a bigger story? Huh? Every SpaceX launch, every Tesla car into space launch, they put it on the mainstream news. I don't remember this. All right. The remains to be deposited on the moon, while another 268 capsules, we're like at 350 titanium capsules. Maybe only 62 of them were titanium, and the other one were wood. You know, people don't have a lot of money nowadays for capsules. Another 268 capsules were sent into deep space. Wait a second. In all the videos that I remember, even in my Is Space Real video on this channel, look in the videos, you'll find it. In my Is Space Real video, they said we have never been beyond low Earth orbit. Well, you would consider the moon beyond low Earth orbit, but yet we have never been beyond low Earth orbit, according to the astronauts and the presidents and all of those people. We've never been beyond low Earth orbit. It's right there in those videos. But this is going to the moon, and it went into deep space. All right. The payload included hair samples of former President George Washington. They have a hair sample of George Washington. They still got a hair sample of George Washington. They still got a hair sample of George Washington. Is that like the mosquito in Jurassic Park embalmed in ember? They had hair samples of former presidents George Washington, John F. Kennedy. Well, we know why they got John F. Kennedy hair samples, because that was a manipulated event. And we all know that they exchanged bodies, if you look into that story. And Dwight D. Eisenhower, contributed by anonymous donor. They didn't write donors. Now listen to that statement. We had the payload included hair samples of former presidents George Washington, John F. Kennedy, and Dwight D. Eisenhower. Hair samples contributed by an anonymous donor. Not multiple donors, a donor. So one person, one donor, had all those hair samples. He's probably got Michael Jackson, probably got Prince, probably got mine. And one person or one donor did it. CIA, George Bush Sr., who created NASA. Just a thought. After the launch, the spacecraft experienced a leak in its propulsion system. Oh. This wasn't news. Will this be made into a movie? Like Apollo 13? The spacecraft experienced a leak in its propulsion system, raising doubts that it would be able to reach the lunar destination. Oh, man. We had a leak. We don't think we can reach the moon with the hair samples that shouldn't exist. But they do. We don't think we can reach the moon. with all these titanium capsules to make the moon a graveyard. There are rumors and conspiracies that the moon actually is a graveyard from species, entities, humans, creatures that were here before us. I don't know. They're literally sending cremations and capsules to the moon to make it a moon graveyard, to dispel the conspiracy. I don't know, but it had a leak. Okay. On January 7th, 2024, a post was shared on Reddit claiming that a rocket was set to release remains of 330 people, including George Washington, JFK, and the Star Trek cast, into space. Okay, well, it said the remains of the Star Trek cast as well. All of them? Michelle Nichols? Scotty? William Shatner? Oh, he's still alive. Spock? Damn it, Jim! The remains of the Star Trek cast literally went into space. The same claim was also spread on other social media platforms such as X. X is going to give it to you. They're going to give it to you. Negativity. They're going to give it to you. And then the fact checker said they called it a fact. They called it a fact. All right, the fact checker said it was true. Your thoughts? FAKE. Ridiculous that one donor did it. They have hair samples of those presidents. And should they not be creating clones from the DNA of those presidents? Or have they not already? Is Biden one of those clones? I don't know. You let me know. Some people think Biden is a clone. Some people think Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a clone. That's why he speaks that way, because he's breaking down. I like Robert F. Kennedy. I don't believe in any of these people going out for president. I believe they're all satanic people. But that brings me on to my next story. And I never thought I was going to be upset at Joe Rogan. But I am. I love what Joe Rogan created. He's friends with a guy that I really like, a guy named Sam Tripoli. Talks about conspiracies and that type of stuff. I like Sam Tripoli. But Joe Rogan doesn't have Sam Tripoli on the shows because they all get censored. Then he thinks Sam Tripoli is just crazy and stupid, which that's what the mainstream tries to call theorists or truthers or people that have different views than they do. But Joe Rogan had Aaron Rodgers on the podcast. Well, I love football, and I actually am a fan of Aaron Rodgers because of everything he did during the pandemic and all that information, whether he lied and dealt with it the correct way, which he did not. He should have had more webbles, that means balls, to just tell the entire NFL, no, I will not get the JAB. I will not do it. I don't trust any of you MFers, and I don't care. It's an agenda, and they're testing new technology, or they're doing something evil. But Aaron Rodgers didn't say that. He kind of lied using legal terms. Yes, I've been inoculated. And it became a controversy. They tried to cancel him and whatever. But that put Aaron Rodgers into the limelight. And a lot of people, oh, he's crazy. I don't like him. Then there's other people going like, I like that dude. I like that dude. And I'm one of those people. So Aaron Rodgers, he got talked about them trying to cancel him and everything else on the Pat McAfee show with Joe Rogan. But Aaron Rodgers, he's into alternative treatments, whether it be holistically, spiritually, and he dabbles in the shrooms and all the other stuff to open up his eyes, his spirituality. And Aaron Rodgers is starting to waken up, or he is already awakened, but he cannot awake publicly because, again, he's being shamed for it and for his views. And that's why I have this podcast, is I want this to be a safe space for all of us to explore some of these theories and these thoughts. And it's not in a defamation sort of tactic. Let's just talk. But unfortunately, you can't do that on these type of platforms because they silence you. It's not the narrative that they want to push. So I'm struggling with this podcast. But back to Aaron Rodgers. He started speaking about something, and I was like, where did this come from? Because I've been studying the old world order that we've talked about on previous shows. I showed a video a couple of weeks back about the old world order, and that involves Tartaria. I'm thinking of tartar, that food, but Tartaria, and the Nephilim and stuff like that. And Aaron Rodgers quickly brought it up on the Joe Rogan podcast. And what does Joe Rogan do like a tool of the system? He acts bigger and smarter and better than everybody else, and he basically tries to debunk and make fun of Aaron Rodgers for having an opinion. Let's watch this video together, guys. This was a bad look, in my opinion, for Joe Rogan, who has a lot of differing views on the podcast, but he laughs at Aaron Rodgers publicly. And this was wrong, in my opinion.
Kind of balls on top of the buildings, and they figured out a way to extract energy just from the air. And
real. So what he was talking about there, he said that they build bulbs on top of these old buildings. And I explored a little bit about this a couple weeks back in one of our Happy Alien podcasts about the buildings. They have energy and spirits, and they can take energy from the air and transverse it into the building. The building becomes an energetic source for the power. Technology would also recharge with free energy, just like the Tesla coil and all that other stuff that we've heard rumors about how energy is literally free, but they try to subsidize it into gasoline and other entities. That the actual energy is all around us, and if we can somehow harness it, we can use it for everything. Technology, power, spiritualism, etc. And these old buildings that are still existing to today, that they say they're only 1,000 years old or whatever, and it looks like that they're younger than that. You know, and then none of the buildings nowadays look like they do when they were being built architecturally many years ago. I mean, we have major technology, you know, fabricating equipment and stuff like that, that is technologically advanced, and it can't even they can't even build buildings like they used to, with the brick or with the ceilings and the energy coils and the height and the architectural shape of the building. Today's technology can't even do those type of buildings. That's why every building that is made nowadays, even with the supposed superior technology and equipment, cannot even be produced again. So where did those buildings come from? How were they made if they didn't even have the manufacturing equipment or the technology that we have today? So there's some sort of an old world that existed with superior manufacturing technology, or aliens or whatever created these buildings for energy. And that's what he's talking about in the beginning of this video. Check it out. The old world order.
Kind of balls on top of the buildings, and they figured out a way to extract energy just from the air. And
really?
Yeah.
So where'd you read this?
Just online. A lot of interesting comments about it.
A lot of nuttiness.
Where'd you read this? Online. You read it online. That's not a good publication. Online, there's not the truth online. Everything online could be a lie. Everything online. A lot of nuttiness, huh? Huh, Joe Rogan? A lot of nuttiness. You're calling him nutty. I am so upset at you, Joe. I am so upset at you for calling yourself a man amongst the people, going against the agenda, to already have a preconceived notion about Aaron Rodgers, and then when he brings up something that he's studying or he's looking into, you say, oh, because you read it online or whatever, it can't even be real, that it's effing nutty. Aaron Rodgers, man, he should have spoke up like he's done with other people. But he's not going to do that against Joe Rogan because Joe has that power.
Yeah. And,
really?
Yeah.
So where'd you read this?
Just online. a lot of interesting comments about it.
A lot of nuttiness. Marshall, get out of there, buddy.
There's a lot.
Literally. Thank you, Mulder. There's some truth out there. And then he's like, are you not going to back me up? Can you find some of this evidence online to, Joe Rogan's co-host or whatever, or producer?
Old Carl's toy. You little thief. How dare you, buddy?
Jamie, you going to back me up on some of this Tartarian?
Yeah, he's going to try to find it. Is there like a really good, reliable source of Tartaria information?
I haven't. Wouldn't Graham be one?
There it is. Again, ridiculous question from Joe Rogan. Is there really a good source about Tartaria? About the old world? The Nephilim or whatever, Tartaria? Is there actually a good source? Well, you just made fun of Aaron Rodgers for reading anything online. So, whatever Aaron Rodgers realizes, if he says, the guy that he said that has an online website, Joe Rogan's going to laugh at him. Because it's not in a book. It just pissed me off, guys. Yeah, just heard that they're going to decommission the International Space Station by 2030. Wow. I got to look into that. Thank you, Krusty. Why? That seems like a waste of money and time. So they can focus on visiting and colonizing other planets. That's right. That's their other agenda. Well, Shatner did go up into outer space on Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin. That's right. That's right. Remember that. Space. The final frontier. I do like Star Trek. I'm more of a Trekkie than I am a Star Wars person. I'll be honest with you. I think Star Trek is more based in a reality than a fantasy. But again, if I don't think space is real, then it's possibly a fantasy. A lot of stuff to think about. It would be cool if the moon was an Anunnaki spaceship. Sam was on Alex Jones the other day. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I got to check that out, man. I haven't listened to Alex Jones in a while. Not because I don't hate him or anything. It's just I don't think I'm a member. And I don't know what platforms he's on. I need to get on Rumble and some of the other platforms. I'm such an idiot that I still stick on YouTube. Thank you for making this podcast and giving us a safe space just to ask questions. Oh, Josh, you're pretty awesome. Thank you. That meant the world to me. Thank you, brother. Krusty, a lot of Joe Rogan's research has been based off of stuff he reads online. Correct. Correct, Krusty. Correct. I don't know, man. It just pissed me off that Joe Rogan was not accepting of his guest. Just ridiculous. All right, guys, let's talk about some other little conspiracy type news that came about. There was a painting. Forgive me, I don't remember the name, Waldemar or whatever, where all of a sudden online this painting got thrown about, and there's a young woman walking, and it looks like she's looking at something or reading something. Then there's a guy about to give her a flower to sneak up on her as a crush, and it's like a painting from the 1800s. And the conspiracy theory on this one is, let's see if we can get a closer look of it, is that she's holding an iPhone or technology or something like that. Because there is multiple pictures where she has a glow, a blue glow, but I couldn't find it in this picture. People are manipulating the picture and putting a blue glow, you know, for technology, how it has the blue glow. But the conspiracy came out that she's, you know, on an iPhone. She's a time-traveling woman, and the painting shows a time-traveling woman. Because there is something irradiating out of that phone, but the debunking of it, or the truth possibly, is that she's reading a book. It's got to be a small book, though, because books, in my opinion, maybe even back then, I would think they would be this big. So her hands would be holding the book like this, but she's got her hands pretty much like this. How does she have her hands like this? Kind of. And I do know they make books like this type of small. I do know that. But I don't know if they made them back then. But, you know, the debunking of that photo is that she's holding a prayer book or one of the small books like this. And I'm sure they made books like that. Maybe it was even a diary. Maybe even it's her diary. Whatever the photographer, if it is a photographer or the person that created the painting from a photograph, which I doubt, they probably just did it off the top of their head. But hey, it was interesting when I saw the pictures with the blue glow. I was like, what? But after doing research as best as possible online, yeah, those photos are faked. But it's a pretty interesting thing that I wanted to talk about, because there's a lot of images of time travelers, or they think time travelers in videos from the past. Like there's a woman walking, I think like in a movie or in the background or something, and she's got this thing to her ear, you know, and they call her a time traveler. There's a lot of stuff like that. It's pretty interesting. And I do believe that we have time travelers. I just don't know how it's done or how it's represented. But if you've noticed, these type of videos are coming out just like alien videos or alien theories or UAPs. They're coming more mainstream. So they're typically brainwashing us. There's multiple pictures of people that never existed in videos wearing clothing, like wearing clothing in the 1920s that was clothing out of the 1980s or the 2000s or something. And they're in a picture in the 1920s wearing that type of clothing. Or they're in the 50s wearing clothing that's reminiscent of the 1800s. I don't know. Whether that's cosplay from the future, I don't know. Just some interesting thoughts that a lot of it is becoming mainstream nowadays, and it makes you think twice. Naysayer said it could be a pocket Bible. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Maybe a diary that she writes into. But it was just an interesting thing that I saw online, that for a split second I believed it, until I did what most conspiracy theorists do, and we actually do the research. That's right. The mainstream narrative is whenever you tell them something, whether it be about Hollow Earth that we were supposed to talk about, or Bigfoot or whatever, they're like, nah, prove it, prove it, prove it. Then we tell them, hey, well, there's been this study. There was this video. Where's that video? But you can't find it on YouTube. You can't find it on Google. So then people go, it ain't there. See, you're lying. It's fake. Do your research. They did, real scientists from 20 years ago did the research. And we live on a globe, because it's in all the Google websites. It's on all the Google videos, and NASA tells us so. That's why. That's why. Do your research. Well, to be quite honest with you, listen, people that want to debunk people like me, hear me out. Use some common sense. We have a theory that goes against the norm, that goes against 80 or 90% of the world's thinking. We have a theory, and then you're telling us that we don't do any research to study this theory. Huh? We do more research than the actual people or scientists that think that theory is wrong. We have to go on 20, 30, 40 different websites. We have to find 20, 40 different scientists on alternate websites. Scientists that have been, unalived or canceled or disappeared. And we got to find their research in a library, in his home office. Because it's never been released online. But he was a credited scientist before that. But the minute he came up with that theory or his scientific proof or he did his test, all of a sudden he's taken off of Wikipedia, he's discredited, and all of a sudden he's gone. And then you guys say, well, he was a conspiracy theorist. We actually do more research than any of you guys. You guys read headlines, and that's as far as you go. You read whatever the news tells you, and that's as far as you go. And I'm not talking about most of you. I'm just generally talking about the other people that don't agree with a lot of the stuff we talk about. We do more research than you. We literally do. We research many, many different people's opinions, statistics, science projects, and whatever. And then we start to go, there's something to that. But the mainstream people will never say that. There's something to that. Because their lies will be revealed, and then they'll be revealed that they are a hypocritical oath, and a lot of the stuff they tell us is fake and fraudulent. And that's all I'm going to say about that. All right, let's talk about some movies I watched this week in my birthday Super Bowl weekend. Guys, see if I can get this on screen. Let me know your thoughts on this movie as well. Somebody throw me a super chat if you got a couple of bucks. I want to see if that thing that pops up on screen is still working. Because it has just said Alien Arrivals forever. So if anybody got a couple of bucks or become a member, let's see if it pops up. I want to see if it works. But I watched Wonka. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm a big fan of the original Wonka musical. I'm a huge fan. And because I'm testing out new technology, guys. So I want to make sure it's still working this long into the show. That's the only reason I asked for the super chat. To test the technology still. But I loved the first movie. It has a place in my heart forever. I sing the music of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I love it. One of my favorites. I always wanted a sequel. Then they came out with the Johnny Depp version sequel. And that was a little bit too dark for me. It missed a little bit of that lovely feelings of the first Wonka or the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I know it was made by Tim Burton and Johnny Depp. It had a lot of creativity and beautiful sights and sounds, but it was a little bit dark in that Tim Burton-esque. And so I didn't get from that movie what I wanted to relive from the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Now they came out with this version, which is a prequel to Willy Wonka, building his chocolate factory. And I never even thought that what he might have been doing in his factory was magic. I didn't really ever think about that. Again, magic is possibly satanic in nature or otherworldly. But I never asked the question to this day until I saw Wonka. How did the trees and everything become chocolate? The rivers, how did he produce all those things? Never once thought about it. It was never explored that he was a magician. But they did in this movie. And I really enjoyed it. But they didn't explain how he became a magician. Just that he was studying and practicing tricks with his mother. But it was good. We got to see a young Willy Wonka. And it was just really enjoyable, guys. Then when he started building the factory with all they had plenty of DEI characters in this movie, which I have no problem with. It worked. It worked. They didn't blatantly go out, and say, hey, we're going to make Willy Wonka a woman or this or that or a black person. So thank goodness for that. This movie was really enjoyable in my eyes. Timothée Chalamet did a pretty decent job, and I enjoyed watching him build his empire and how he... Guys, long story short, dude, I smiled throughout this movie. I smiled throughout this movie. And that was the best thing I saw this week, was Wonka. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I cheered. I listened to the songs. I enjoyed it all. I really, really did. Willy Wonka built his crew, built his factories against all the turmoil of the conspiracies of the chocolate conspiracy Illuminati. The chocolate Illuminati, man, that was going against Wonka. It was fun, man. That was going against Wonka. It was fun, man. Dude, I kind of want to watch it again now that I'm smiling about it. I enjoyed it, guys. Let me know your thoughts on Wonka, please. Let me know. Krusty AQ, I remember starting science class in the middle of school, having to go mark out facts out of the old science books at the beginning of the year because they changed. Wow, that's interesting. I like Shakir Team 10's acronym, Never a Straight Answer, NASA. There you go. Never a Straight Answer, NASA. I like all UFO hieroglyphs they found in ancient caves. Once I grew up and realized how much the world news and advertisement lies to you, I question everything. That's the right thing you need to do, man. But somebody asked me the other day on Twitter when I posted something like this, maybe about Biden, well, what are you going to do about it? Well, what are you going to do about it? At least I'm questioning. And I'm waking up. That's the start to doing something about it. But we might be too late. Everything has been conjured up and conformed, and we literally need to have a war. A conspiracy war, or a propaganda war, or a truth from lies war. I don't know. Then I watched this movie just last night when I was sad that I didn't go live, and I was dealing with my feelings because I had some criticism about certain things I do online and how it's ruining me and it's going to ruin my life, whatever shred of a career I have left. And they really, really affected me, that I cannot be who I am if I want to be a part of that world. I cannot be who I am. That's what they were telling me. And that means you'll sell your soul. So I found this movie. The algorithm showed it to me. My mind was thinking, oh, I'll never be famous again. Or I'll never, have a career again. That's what my mind was thinking after this critique from these people that are kind of trying to help me have a comeback. That's what I was thinking. And then all of a sudden, the algorithm shows me this movie called I Used to Be Famous. I mean, literally, is Alexa and the algorithm in my brain? It scares me when stuff like this happens. Sometimes when I talk about a product or bananas or this or that, all of a sudden I get commercials or advertisement for bananas. But when it happens and it's in my head and I've never speaked it out loud, and then I get a movie, freaks me out. Charles said Wonka was good. I was shocked. I enjoyed Wonka a lot. Thank you very much for your opinion. So this movie popped up called I Used to Be Famous, and I read the little line, and it's about a former boy band member that is trying to come back to prominence, and then he meets a spoiler alert, what's the word of those people? Autism. An autistic boy, a drummer, and they build a friendship and they help each other along that journey of prominence and learning about each other. And it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. It's a London-based movie out of the UK. It's on Netflix. But I enjoyed it. I had some feels. It was a good movie. I enjoyed the performances. I'm not saying it was the best thing, but I just thought it was really weird how it popped up in my algorithm. But I'm glad it did. I'm glad it did. I enjoyed it because I feel like I'm the character in that movie a little bit, where I used to be famous. And do I want to be famous again? Not really. Do I want to perform and act in movies and TV and film? Yes. I want to do the craft again. But I don't know if I really want to be famous. And that's a question that this guy asked himself during this movie. So that's why I enjoyed it, because it was kind of like all the thoughts that I have in my life nowadays. Then, to the worst thing I saw this week. If Wonka was the best, this was absolutely the worst. It's called Dicks the Musical. The alphabet community agenda is all up and down this movie. It stars Bowen Yang from Saturday Night Live and a couple of people that created Borat and writers or producers of The Greatest Showman for the musical, and these two GAY writers, or these alphabet writers, and it had Nathan Lane. What's her name? Not Missy Elliott. Megan Thee Stallion is in this as well. And it's a musical. And it's nothing but alphabet propaganda and presenting of sexual subjects and really tasteless, unqualified jokes that are just so bad. I wanted to turn it off 20 minutes into it. But thank goodness this one scene happened that kind of said, all right, continue watching. See how even worse this movie gets. I could see this movie being made fun of for years to come. They probably want it to be like a Rocky Horror Picture Show for the alphabet community. And yeah, I don't know about that. But there's a scene in the middle of this where Nathan Lane, instead of pets or like dogs that he has, being a father of these two kids that don't even know their parents. One kid lived with his father, and another kid, they're twins, lived with his mother. They didn't know each other existed. They found each other, and they both have big D's. But there's a scene with Nathan Lane where instead of having dogs, he has like these sewer creatures that were raised and born from the sewer. And they eat food out of his mouth, and they're disgusting looking, and they look like these disgusting creatures. So for a split second, I was like, that is wild. That is weird. That is stupid, and that is wrong. And so I continued watching from that point. But it still got worse, and I don't want to talk about it anymore, guys. I don't know why I finished it. Then I wanted to watch a comedy movie the other day. There's not too many comedy movies around. And this movie's been in my queue for a while. And it stars Jamie Presley, who I've met on a couple occasions in my life. So I had it on my list to watch. Plus, I recognized one of the characters from a show called Superstore on NBC, a sitcom that I enjoyed, the Asian character on the left. And I knew it starred him. And I knew it had to do about college and fraternities and parties by reading the synopsis. So I checked it out. It's called The Re-Education of Molly Singer. And not to give anything away, a woman that lived her best years in college, she ends up working at like a lawyer firm. I don't know how she did that. But she ends up losing her job and has to take care of the lawyer firm's son while he transitioned into college. So she gets a second opportunity at living the college life, which were her best moments in life, while taking care of, her boss's son and bringing him into the lifestyle of meeting women and partying and basically living a college life. It had a few laughs. I didn't want to turn it off. It wasn't that bad, but it was nothing to sneeze about. But if you guys want to check it out, there it is, The Re-Education of Molly Shinger. And then I want to get into a couple of these TV shows, so I want to know which one I should watch from your perspective in the coming days. Should I watch Reacher or Halo? I haven't watched any of the episodes from the first season. The second season on both of these shows has now come out. And should I watch Reacher or Halo or any of these shows moving forward? What would be your recommendation? Also, the second season of Life and Beth just came out on Hulu. That's with the girl comedian that I hate. But I like Michael Cera a little bit, so I want to watch that. But you guys let me know, should I watch Halo or Reacher? I played the first Halo video game on PC. It was able to work on my PC many years ago, and I enjoyed it, but I never had an Xbox or whatever to really get into Halo. But I enjoy war stories and stuff like that, and sci-fi, and let me know your thoughts. Krusty said, I still don't believe the original story was all told. Speaking of comedies, watched Big Mama's House 2 the other night. I couldn't believe it only got 4.5 rating. Well, that's the controversy with Cat Williams, how they wanted him to wear a dress for Mama's House 2. So he gave the part to somebody else because they wanted to emasculate the black community. That's that story about Mama's House. Well, if you get to Amazon, I guess watching The Expanse, if you haven't seen it. Great sci-fi. Dude, I watched the first season of Expanse. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. That was about the miners taking, like, mining up in space, taking equipment back and forth. And then they had that, like, and I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but they had the Indian lady who talks like this. We couldn't tell you. I did not like it. Maybe it got better the second season as it went along, but I did not like it. I did not like it, The Expanse show. Maybe I should go back and watch it, man. I don't know. I wasn't into it. All right, guys, guess what? We unfortunately did not have a winner on today's show, as the number was 75 for today's show. And I think we hit around 25 at most for today's show, which means after this show gets flagged, I'll probably make about $13 off of 8 to 10 hours of work. I've made $13 through today's show, but no offense, I support everybody and I thank you guys. I know it was a high number to reach for a winner, but I kind of needed to supplement my income that way. We didn't reach the number, so there is no winner for today's show in Super Chats or memberships, unless somebody all of a sudden wants to throw that my way, because you are a baller. I'd appreciate you. But for the previous shows, since if you don't have the money for Super Chat, you can still be a winner. And I told people to write the words, I want to win, in the video down below after it airs. And I will put the names of those channels or those people in a little box. And I will pick a winner one time every month from that box. So here we go. I think we had about 8 people that wrote, I want to win, out of all the previous month's episodes. And now let's pick a winner. So that proves you don't have to Super Chat money to win, you know, from my channel. Because I try to respect and support everybody. Here we go. Here we go. And the winner on this episode is, from the comments, sorry guys, with the screen name on YouTube, Indiana Hooters. Indiana Hooters wrote, I want to win, in one of the previous videos, and you are the winner. So, Indiana Hooters, if you're watching this, get a hold of me. I'm going to try to do so as well on your YouTube channel. And get a hold of me, and you won something from my merchandise store Indiana Hooters screen name. And yeah, there we'll go from there. So congratulations, Indiana Hooters, for winning on today's show. And now, let's get to next week's guest. I will be filming the interview, I believe, on Monday morning. Next week's guest is a third woman in a row. It's not always going to be women, and we're going to have some Hollywood guests as well coming up. But this is how the cards were dealt, because I have to pre-program interviews per availability for most of these people. And a lot of them, they were available at one moment, then they're not available at the next. So I kind of had to mix and match, and I had to get people that were available to film that week. And it just so happens that the next guest is going to be our third girl in a row, and she is considered to be a goth culture expert. And a third beautiful woman in a row that I'm friends with or whatever on Instagrams and all that. Her moniker or her name is Midnight Owl. She is a goth culture expert. She has a YouTube channel, and she deals in pop culture, nostalgia, and toys, but like horror and goth type of stuff as well. And if you guys have seen any of my previous videos, I don't understand that world. And typically, I don't like that world. And maybe our last guest, Shara Garcia, can be considered a goth witch as well. So, I don't know why these goth witches, or whatever they are coming into my friendship circles, but they're being great people, and they're dispelling any myth that I have of them being satanic, devilish, or the other preconceived notions that I have had. But I'm also interested in knowing why they like this stuff, why it intrigues them to make videos or do readings or paranormal or whatever. So Midnight Owl, the goth culture expert, will be a guest on next week's show. The interview, I think, is going to go live Monday morning, 11 a.m. Pacific. I don't know what time that is for you guys. So, if you guys want to watch the interview live, consider becoming a member of this channel. And then when we go live, I'll make the screen footage for that interview, and you guys will know the time. And if you're a member, you can go live and join us on Monday, 11 a.m. Pacific, I believe, if nothing else goes wrong in my life. But there it is, Midnight Owl, a goth culture expert, will be on the show. And you guys know I'm going to flirt with her, of course. Trying to find a wifey, of course. So that is a continuing thing that is always going to happen. Krusty, wouldn't mind to see Wet Movie One again. Good to see y'all hang out. Yeah, we can definitely do that again as well. And he brought in the views. Wet Movie brought in a lot of the views. Even more than Luke Edwards from The Wizard show. Pretty interesting stuff. But there it is, guys. That's today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please share, hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you guys for chiming in with me this Saturday for this 3.5-hour show. And more importantly, I hope you guys realize that we're all lucky to be alive. And let's just have a beautiful Saturday, whatever that means to you. But always ask questions. And hopefully by the end of this, you realize we're not actually human. We're all aliens. And hopefully by the end of today's episode, you consider yourself a happy alien. So for Neptune, Krusty, Charles, everybody that's been online today, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And I'll see you very, very soon.